we're going for with this guy.
I'm unlimited.
He's got that self-help vibe. You know how Tony Robbins comes off as kind of creepy?
That's the lane he's trying to go in?
That's the lane we're in right now.
Wow. I'm embarrassed for him.
Be careful, though.
Yeah.
It's like Wedding Crashers, and she's like, I'll find you. Remember that?
Yeah.
Be careful, though.
Are we doing serial killer? That's what's going to sell the sandwiches? Because
Spicy.
why? Because it's spicy?
It's spicy.
What a stone cold weirdo that guy is.
Unlimited.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. These low-carb rinds can get you through the daily grind. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. It is Maggie and Perloff live from Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And we are so excited because today's going to be amazing. You can, of course, listen to us across the country on our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. We're also streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. The chat is already up and running. Justin Jefferson of the Vikings is going to be here in just a little bit. We've got to start with the big news, though.
Yes.
So can we still call him a bus rider? Kevin Durant joins yet another super team, Perloff.
No.
Big trade that went down
How is this a
basically
super
overnight.
team?
How is it not a super team? Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, now all on the same team. But Durant has never had his own thing that's worked and been successful. He and Kyrie Irving tried to make it work in Brooklyn, but honestly, at the end, they weren't trying. They were both looking for the exits as quickly as they possibly could in what might go down as one of the biggest failed experiments in the NBA, and now jumping ship to yet another super team.
I don't think this is a super team in the same way. This is not Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. This is not LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. DeAndre Ayton is not a super team caliber player, is he? And Chris Paul is ancient. Devin Booker's amazing. But to me, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, that's not Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. He's the bus driver here. There's none of those guys are bus drivers. I think Devin Booker on the court has some bus driver in him, but he is not.
But he already made a finals once without
They did, but Devin Booker doesn't take the attention that KD does. This is KD's team. Immediately.
Okay, and is that necessarily a good thing? Because while everybody is crowning the Phoenix Suns, and this is so funny that this trade happened while we're in Phoenix, so, you know, everyone here is really excited, even more so than they might have been. But people are a little quick here to crown the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant is still injured, by the way, is still not returning. He went out January 8th with a knee sprain, still hasn't been back. Booker's just coming back.
Right.
Chris Paul, when's the last time he finished a season like on a high note where they're going into the playoffs and you're like, this is the healthiest Chris Paul's been?
Well, the finals trip.
Yeah, but then faded in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul, we all know about his playoff struggles. That's why Kevin Durant feels different in this particular situation. Golden State, they'd already won a championship. So isn't that true? And they had Steph Curry.
Yeah.
This team is nothing like that. And honestly, I don't even think it's as super teamy as the Nets. To your previous point about this being an unprecedented implosion, isn't this the NBA today? We see the same thing happen in Brooklyn with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Darren Williams.
I know, but those guys were past their prime.
Yeah, but nobody knew that at the time. Nobody said they're past their prime. Everyone said super team.
Well, yes, but it was like super team in name only because Garnett was old at that point, Pierce was old, and they had won their title. I don't think they were trying to put they didn't have the same hunger that they did. You thought Durant was going to have the hunger in Brooklyn because it was a chance for him to win a title outside of the Warriors.
Well, you're going to look back on this team, Durant, Harden, Irving, the same way we did that. Nobody knew at the time that Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Darren Williams were washed. Honestly, Darren Williams was the biggest part of it. He was young. No one knew he was terrible.
Well, or that he was injured also and then got paid and it all went downhill.
And he was an important member of the actual Redeem team. He was an all-NBA player, and he fell apart. I think we're going to look back at KD, Kyrie, and James Harden and say, why do we call that a super team? James Harden can't win at a high level. Kyrie's an absolute mess. KD is a super team member. He's the only real super team member of that trio, to me.
Okay, and I think, like, we talk about KD's legacy a lot because he is such a special player, and the fact that, you know, Charles Barkley called him the bus rider, which I was alluding to before, like, this doesn't do anything for him. So, like, you join the Suns now, you join mid-season, and you win the title, okay, you're still a mercenary now. That's what you are. You're a guy without a team. Like when Kevin Durant goes into the Hall of Fame, what jersey is he wearing? You know, it's just, he's now become one of... Really? Are you sure?
7 years there?
But I mean, is it about the years or is it about where he had the most success? Is he a warrior?
Well,
Is he a net?
No, he didn't win a title with the Thunder, but he put that franchise on the map. So I think that has value. He made the Oklahoma City Thunder relevant. That's big. You know, if we're not going to look back if he wins this title and judge it as harshly history. I mean, we give Peyton Manning so much credit for that second Super Bowl ring, and the truth is he was terrible that year. So we forget the details.
No. Here's the difference. The Indianapolis Colts wanted to move on from Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets didn't want to move on from Kevin Durant. They didn't. I don't even know until like very recently they didn't want to move on from Kyrie Irving. Like I think both guys,
I don't know about.
Until like a year and a half ago. I mean, like when he first got there, I think that they were trying to do everything they possibly could, the Nets that is, to try to make this work. And it's like one thing about, listen, I'm all about player empowerment, and it's been far too long the players really had a seat at the table and had a voice. But I think this was an abuse of power of what KD and Kyrie were doing in Brooklyn, because you came there because you thought the culture was good, and, you know, Kyrie grew up a Nets fan, or they want to be in New York, or whatever the reasons are, right? Then they come in, and look what happens. Kenny Atkinson was the coach there, had him fired, right? A guy who's now the lead assistant for the Golden State Warriors, so obviously he's got a little talent. You know, basically want DeAndre Jordan to come in and start taking minutes away from Jared Allen, who was like a rising star, who's now a really important role player for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You want James Harden to come, and Harden wanted to leave Houston. You move heaven and earth, picks, players, everything to get Harden in. Then Harden realizes he doesn't want to be there anymore. He jumps ship. Then Kyrie starts requesting a trade. Then KD starts. It's like, guys,
so what?
They came to that franchise, and the franchise basically got on one knee and said, whatever you want, I'll give you. And now look how they've left it. Like,
right, but it's not their fault. It's the Nets took a gigantic risk. The Nets saw what happened in Boston with Kyrie Irving. They can't possibly claim they were surprised.
Wait, so you think the Nets are to blame?
Well, yes, they brought in Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Of course they're to blame. What the heck do you think was going to happen there?
What did Phoenix just do?
Phoenix brought in KD. KD does not belong with those two players.
No, but everyone's superstar chasing.
Yes. Yeah, but the Nets.
You can't blame the Nets for wanting that.
They took a swing, but nobody's feeling sorry for the Nets. They took a ridiculous swing at getting Kyrie, Harden, and KD, and it did not work. So they knew the risk. They had to know the risk with Kyrie.
Well, I don't know if they thought the risk was this big of a risk.
Well, then they're foolish.
Well, with teammates and things like that, but Kyrie brought so much negative attention from outside, not basketball stuff.
Let me ask you this question. Yeah. Is it a good day for the NBA that Kevin Durant is out of Brooklyn and in Phoenix? The NBA as a whole, not Brooklyn fans. The NBA, if you're a fan of just the league.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it works both ways for the league. I think it is good when big players move around because it creates intrigue and new teams, because the NBA is such an individual, like they've marketed the stars over the teams. But if you are actually a fan of one of the teams who now your superstar just asked out, then I bet today's a tough day.
Well, good thing a team that the star left has no real fans. So that, I mean, Brooklyn is an odd fan base, Maggie. You know New York really well. It is a very odd fan base.
It's odd.
It's not like he left Milwaukee or he left the Sixers or Boston. Brooklyn is new to Brooklyn, and it has I'm telling you, I live in Brooklyn. It has not catch hold.
No, New York's a Knicks town.
New York's a Knicks town. Even in Brooklyn, the Knicks. So I don't think there's a lot of really sad Nets fans out there. I mean, there might be some kids. It's unfair. But the truth is, as an NBA fan, it is good to get KD out there, because once Kyrie left, the Nets were not going to compete for a title. Now you have this new contender in the West instead of this jam-packed East. This is going to make the playoffs so much more exciting.
855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. We do want you guys to be able to weigh in on what was the blockbuster trade from last night. And we're out here in Phoenix, so it happened around 11 o'clock local time. I was like, I'm going to get some sleep tonight. And then, boom, all of a sudden my phone basically started sizzling. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, right, KD just got traded. So is it better for the league overall? It creates some intrigue, but I don't love how this went down. I didn't love how it went down with James Harden. I didn't love when he switched two teams basically in a calendar year.
That's so weird. I don't know how the Nets, they must have been so surprised on a guy who quit on the court, James Harden. If you didn't know what you were getting with James Harden, then you're a foolish franchise.
I know, but it's like hard for me to say, haha, Nets, you got what was coming to you, when all you're trying to do is get stars, which is exactly what the Mavs just did in trading for Kyrie Irving. Like, the Mavs, do they know what they're in for? And then the same thing with the Suns. And the Suns are getting praised today because of the KD trade. But, what are you guys in for? KD, who's missed 115 games over the last 3 years.
Okay, but you have to admit, of that trio of KD, James Harden, and Kyrie, KD is the easy choice.
Well, of course, in terms of
drama and talent.
Yeah, drama and talent. I mean, listen, KD comes with his own stuff, but I think he is a little bit most about basketball out of those guys. Like, you're not going to see him, like Harden is out at the club with whoever after games. That's Harden's thing. Kyrie's thing is you never know what's around the corner. KD doesn't have that kind of drama.
I just think basketball player-wise, Kyrie Irving's brilliant on offense, but he's 6'1", plays no defense.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really generate a lot of offense for those around him. KD is a unicorn. He's a 7-footer with one of the best jump shots in the history of the NBA. There's nobody else like KD. I think just KD is transcendent, and I'm thrilled because I think watching the Suns against a team like the Warriors in the playoffs, that's going to be a gigantic rating. Who would not want to see KD and the Suns versus the Warriors? I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching every second of that.
No, it is going to be fun. I see KD and I think about his legacy, and I think of he's done a lot. I don't say of damage, like other guys have real things that go on that hurts their credibility and character. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about basketball wise, because he is that transcendent. Even at 34, with the knee problems that he's had and the games that he's missed, he's still transcendent. We still believe in his talent so much, and I don't know. I just see this guy as, man, you are this amazing player, and now you've just been title chasing, ring chasing, and you get to another super team, and I'm not even sure this one's going to fully work because I don't know if everyone's going to be healthy at the end of the year.
No. Well, I think we're learning that super teams are not easy to actually execute the plan. It's just hard. And, I think these teams taking a swing, they know there's a risk, so just remember that when it all falls apart, they knew there was a risk, Maggie.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I'm curious how this is resonating, throughout the country. Because if you're obviously in New York, you're a Nets fan, you feel pretty devastated today, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like good riddance,
get out of here. First of all, it all fell apart when Kyrie left, but no, there's no Brooklyn. They're so sick of this. They have to be sick of it.
They have to be sick of all
I
the
saw
drama.
The arena was empty, but they have to be sick of it.
And considering, they get Mikal Bridges, they get Cam Johnson, they get 4 first-round picks. Jay Crowder was involved in the trade, but he's already been flipped to the Milwaukee Bucks earlier today. And so, good job for the Nets, I would say, considering the position they were in. Okay, actually, let's get to our first phone call, shall we? Don't have the call screener up in front of us, so Stu, you're going to give us Joe from Florida on the state of the NBA. What's up, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to go on a little semi-rant here, and I'm going to keep it as clean as I can.
Okay.
I talked to you guys last week, too, about that. They cut me off. Basically, Kevin Durant was insulting a few weeks ago the lineup, if you remember. It might have been a month ago. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie doesn't go to work, and then he says, I feel so disrespected.
Yeah.
LeBron James is like, really, I need some players. Like, I play basketball. I'm old now. I'm overweight, whatever. Back in the day, when you went to play ball, you played ball, and you were one of the best players, and you won. You didn't say, well, I have to get all of the best players with me to play. Why can't Durant win without going to cling on to people? Why can't James do it? These guys are not. It's a I don't know, cookie cutter, cupcakes. It's soft. It's not like it used to be. These aren't winners. These are losers. And the sad part is you're never going to back me up because this is what you do for a living. But it is a disgusting platform, not to mention they get paid all of the money to behave the way they behave. It's never been grosser or more disgusting or more
I know,
weak.
but Joe, here's the thing. I understand. I think it is a turnoff and distasteful for a lot of people like yourself, and thank you so much for the phone call. But to Perloff's point, I think for casual viewers, the NBA just got more interesting today. I mean, the NBA might have made a little deal with the devil here, and like, hey, we're going to market the stars so no one really cares about the teams anymore, right? And perhaps that comes back to bite them at some point, but I think if you ask the average person who's all these sports fans who are in front of us today, I think they'd say the NBA just got more interesting. But I get his point that it's distasteful.
I mean, I think it goes from 1/50th as interesting as the NFL to 1/10th as interesting as the NFL. So
NFL,
I think that, but I think
not even getting close.
That's
to the
important.
NFL.
They need something. They need something, and that's true. This is definitely in league office. Like, okay, good. I mean, because Brooklyn was not winning the title.
I don't think they were beating the Celtics. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we are live here from Radio Row. Thank you to the Weedos in the chat today. I got to tell you, it's Thursday. They're still going strong. Like, they get stronger as the week goes on.
Love it.
We're not even at the peak of their powers yet. See you guys in the chat. Absolutely loving it. We've got a stacked show for you today, including wide receiver all-pro from the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, later on in this hour. Coming up next, great friend of the show and someone who's doing important work on behalf of the NFL, the founder of the Concussion Legacy Foundation, Chris Nowinski, former WWE wrestler, former football player. He's going to join us next. Guys, we're just getting started here. Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona. Come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
For the first time ever, stream the Super Bowl for free. Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One is Sunday, February 12th. Catch all the action on the Odyssey app, on WestwoodOneSports.com, via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. All sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Maggie, it is heating up at Radio Row. It's a mob scene everywhere.
I know. It's been crazy, but we're so lucky now to have one of our good friends of the show and someone who's been not just a friend, but a great resource for us, because he's talking about something that is incredibly important and something that Perloff and I don't have a lot of point of reference to. And that is our buddy Chris Nowinski, who's the founder of the Concussion Legacy Foundation, who joins us here now on Radio Row. Chris, thanks so much for doing this. Okay, so for people who are not familiar with your story and how you got involved here, tell us really quickly.
Sure. Got hit in the head too much as a youngster, played football at Harvard, wrestled for WWE 20 years ago, had a career-ending concussion, got me very interested in how to get my headaches to go away, realized that how we handled concussions 20 years ago was wrong. Also, there's this thing, CT, that we're starting to learn about. Wrote a book about it, started the foundation. I've been trying to change the world so that we can stop injuring athletes' brains and try to figure out how to cure this disease that we're now finding in way too many former football players and other athletes.
I mean, it's an incredible thing you're doing, and I know sometimes you get pushback from a lot of places, even the NFL, times like that, but you're finding some incredible things, including a new study that just came out.
Yeah, we updated our numbers at the Boston University CTE Center. We when we started this, we were like 11 out of our first 12 NFL players we studied had CTE, and everyone's like, oh, that's an anomaly. It's just the worst 12. Now we have 376 NFL players who've died, and we've studied their brains over the last 15 years. 345, or 92% of them, have had this disease.
Oh,
as a reference point, we've all studied the brains of everyone who's died in the Framingham Heart Study, and only 1 out of 164 had it, less than 1%, and it was a college football player. So the question of is football causing this disease is over. Right? Everyone agrees football, if you play football too long, you get hit in the head too many times, you can get this disease. And so we need to change and change faster, or else it's going to keep happening.
Did that number 92% surprise you, Chris?
No. I mean, we really struggle to find healthy brains. And again, it's still a biased sample, so it's not that 92% of NFL players have this that are playing this weekend, but we now know that the minimum number that play it is definitely double digits, and I would say it's unlikely to be less than half of them when we're actually able to diagnose this in living people. And that should concern everybody. So we have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. Well, Chris Nowinski is here with us. Okay, so the NFL just released some numbers recently, too, and I was kind of surprised because they don't generally get out in front of these kinds of things. They said that concussions were up 18% this year. They said the reason they know that is because the testing is better and more comprehensive. But, Chris, we talked to you during season as we're watching Tua Tagovailoa stumble around the football field, and we were told after the game it was a back injury. So when the NFL comes out and says this, like, what's your reaction to it?
Well, it's a PR spin. So talking about concussion numbers distracts from CT. They never update you on CT numbers, and they're not the same thing. Concussion is an acute injury; you will get better. CT is a degenerative brain disease; you will not. but you can still get treatment for the symptoms for anyone worried about out there. But with the being up 18%, that all happened after Tua.
Right.
And it was because they started calling things that were obvious concussions. I mean, the fact that Tua stumbled around, grabbed his head, all these things, and the Dolphins still deny it's a concussion. So they weren't up 18%, it was up 19% because they still aren't counting that one from Tua. But it also shows that we have no idea how many concussions are actually happening, because every one of these NFL players will tell you after their career that they are not reporting every time they have symptoms, because if they did, they could not continue their career. There's been studies that shown fewer than 1 in 20 concussions are actually diagnosed in college football. Everyone's hiding them.
Yeah.
And so, we're supposed to feel good that we're managing concussions, but it's not taking care of the long-term issue.
You know, one that stood out to me is when Tom Brady's wife Giselle said that Tom had suffered a concussion every year. That, I think, opened a lot of eyes, but it sort of went away. Tom never talked about it. That's the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
No one's immune from this.
No, not at all. And I remember he had that concussion on the last drive of the Falcons Super Bowl game, and still no one talks about it.
I know,
but she's admitted now. He's admitted it, and nobody cares. And it's a shame. But the reason why we keep talking about with NFL players is because this really matters for kids. Football is a game built on the backs of more than 1 million, or almost 2 million kids playing the game under the age of 18. So we can enjoy these 2,000 that are playing at the pro level. So if there's anything to be learned from this, is that if you're going to choose to let your child play tackle football, make that decision very carefully. Make sure there's every possible protection you can put into place. But also there was a bill filed in the state of New York on yesterday that would ban tackle football before the age of 12, and I wholeheartedly endorse it. There is no reason for a child to be getting hit in the head 400 or 500 times a year before they're even old enough to go through puberty yet.
Right.
They're not even old enough to go into a weight room because we're worried about their joint development, but yet we're still banging them in the head as much as these NFL players. The NFL Pro Bowl went flagged because NFL players will not get hit in the head unless you're paying them, and it's not worth it. And so if NFL players don't want to play tackle football, rethink what kids will do it because you tell them to, but that doesn't mean that they understand the consequences.
Also, I mean, listen, you played football at a high level. You went to Harvard and played football. Every mom and dad out there would dream that their kid could go to Harvard, and let alone to play football there. But you don't have to play and start, if you start in high school, you can still get good enough to get recruited by Harvard.
Right. And frankly, all of the older NFL players I know that are doing great, like I just spent time with Mike Haynes, the Hall of Famer, top 50. He didn't play till his sophomore year of high school. We actually have on our website, if you go to stophittingkids.org, we started a campaign called Stop Hitting Kids in the Head, because that's really how we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
But we have the all-time greatest team who never played before high school, and it includes the top 5 all-time. Walter Payton, Lawrence Taylor, Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, and I'm blanking on Jim Brown.
Yeah. Wow.
None of them played before high school.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know academically Chris went to a great college, but football-wise, it's not Dartmouth.
Perloff, big.
Yeah. We love that Buddy Stevens doesn't tackle in practice. So give you that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Real quick question. I have 2 daughters. Are we just talking about football, or how much do you work on other sports? And what other sports are people not paying enough attention to? Yeah,
so with CTE, the vast majority, like 70% of the brains in the brain bank of our 1,300 are football. But yes, it is in every other contact collision sport. We've seen it in ice hockey. We've seen it in soccer. We've seen it it's in boxing, MMA, wrestling. But with the women's side, we aren't seeing CT in female athletes yet, but there's a very obvious reason for that. A, they don't play football, and B, Title IX, there aren't 80-year-old former, soccer players in our country walking around who played 20 years. So we are studying members of the women's national team from the 90s, and I suspect, I guarantee we'll find CT in female soccer players. It's just a matter of time, and I hope that gets people to realize that throwing a projectile at your child's head and asking them to head it back to you is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, if my kids will play soccer, but they may never head a ball because there is no upside to it.
Chris Nowinski is joining us. He's the founder of the Concussion Legacy Foundation. If you're a massive wrestling fan, you remember him as Chris Harvard, which was a fun time of your life until obviously it was very not a fun time in your life after you got a career-ending concussion. Can we go back to Tua for a moment?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of football fans who are going to follow this quarterback carousel. All right, they are admitting to 2 concussions this year. Obviously, we saw 3. Do you think that he should be suiting up next season? Like, how would you handle that?
Well, there are certain doctors I would trust to help him make that choice, but he never recovered from that first one. It's very clear. So I don't think it's fair to label him as a concussion case. Give him 6 months off to let his brain recover. We, thanks to our advocacy, there's no longer hitting in the off season, so his brain will have time to recover. And if he wants to go back, it's risky, but, hopefully he will, it's his choice, and he's getting paid a lot of money to do it. It's a very different choice at his age versus somebody else.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious if the Dolphins will actually pay him his 5th year or not.
Oh. Wow.
And who they might bring in to back him up,
Right.
and all of that is just one of the things that's very interesting and that we're keeping an eye on. Okay, last thing. There was the class action lawsuit. Did you see that?
Yes.
Well, I know we have a minute left,
The disability
and I just brought up
lawsuit.
a really big topic. But how much do you keep an eye on those lawsuits and how they kind of maybe intersect with your world?
I'm actually part of the new Players Advocacy Committee that was created by the courts to help educate players to go back and get reevaluated because of the race norming and all the resources that are available to them. So check out the Players Advocacy Committee for next NFL player because there are better resources for you. But I think the disability new lawsuit filing is an obvious show that the NFL is still trying to find ways not to pay for these guys.
Yep.
It's also there's 10,000 claims, they said in that article. Being an ex-NFL player is not glorious. These guys are in pain, they're struggling, they have neurological damage. And they have to reach out to us, the Concussion Legacy Foundation, a lot to get the help they need because they can't get it through the NFL resources. So I will say the last message, if you're an ex-athlete out there and you're worried about CT, we talk about it, the harsh realities of it. We're talking about protecting your kids, but also not everybody has these horrible experiences. And so if you are dealing with any symptoms you think could be related, do reach out to the CLF helpline, the clfhelpline.org, or just search Concussion Legacy Foundation helpline. We will get you to doctors that can make you feel better and do better.
Chris, what you're doing is amazing. And honestly, I think it was your tweet after Tua stumbled off the field that made the NFL get at least more serious about their concussion protocols. You're doing incredible advocacy work, and the Concussion Legacy Foundation is helping people. So congratulations on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, we've got more coming up. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, broke my little Bills fan heart this season.
Poor Maggie.
Yeah. We'll talk to him about that and what went wrong with the Vikings against the New York Giants in the playoffs. We're going to do that all next. But first, a CBS Sports update. Here is Dexter Henry.
CBS Sports Flash.
All right, Maggie and Andrew, the NBA trade deadline came and went at the top of the hour, and it was quite the active one. The activity ramped up last night when the Suns went supernova, acquiring Kevin Durant from the Nets for Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks. The Nets then flipped Crowder to the Bucks for 5 second-round picks earlier today. Other deals that went down today, the Lakers, they continued to wheel and deal. LA sent Thomas Bryant to the Nuggets for Devon Reed and 3 second-rounders, and also in another deal, Patrick Beverly, to the Magic for Mo Bamba. The Warriors, Pistons, and Hawks struck a 3-team deal with former number 2 overall pick James Wiseman heading to Detroit and Sadiq Bey to Atlanta. Golden State also brought back Gary Payton II for 5 second-rounders. Another 3-way deal saw John Wall going to the Rockets, Luke Kennard to the Grizzlies, and Eric Gordon to the Clippers. The Celtics, they landed Mike Muscala from the Thunder. The Nuggets, they sent Bones Highland to the Clippers for picks. And in baseball news, right-hander Yu Darvish and the San Diego Padres reportedly are in agreement on a 6-year, $108 million contract extension. I'm Dexter Henry.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, we're live in Phoenix at Radio Row for Day 4. TJ Watt, Josh Jacobs, Emmett Smith, and Brian Dawkins stop by. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We're on Radio Row, Phoenix Convention Center, and now joined by, well, someone who was one of my favorites, Perloff. He was one of my favorites. He's incredible to watch until he had the catch of the year over my Buffalo Bills. Justin Jefferson, the All-Pro, the three-time Pro Bowler. I'm a diehard Bills fan. I grew up there, and you had your signature moment, 4th and 18. Would you like to gloat about it, sir?
Sure, why not? Well, first of all, that was a crazy game to be in. I mean, the atmosphere was crazy. Mafia was going crazy into the building. It being cold, it's snowing in between the game, so that whole atmosphere was crazy for me, and to make one of the best catches to ever happen in that type of situation on 4th and 18. It's unbelievable to think about. God definitely was with me during that play, and throughout the whole season. It's been amazing to have the plays that I've been making for the team to give us that extra edge and momentum.
I'm so happy for you, Justin. I'm so happy for you. But what I thought was interesting is I was reading an article, a profile of you in ESPN, the magazine, about how you and your brothers kind of sat down before the season saying, like, I need my Odell catch. I need my one-handed catch.
Yeah.
But you can't ever plan for that.
Never.
Right.
Never. It's definitely tough to plan those type of catches. And to even make those type of catches is difficult to do. But I never had a one-handed catch in a game yet, and that was my first one that I ever had in a game. So it's unbelievable to say we was talking about that in the beginning of the season, and it actually happened. And the crazier part is I was actually talking to Odell the week of the game, literally 3 days before the game. I was talking to him, and we was talking about the game, and it's being a championship matchup and everything like that. So it's crazy to talk to him and then go out there and make a catch like that.
Okay, enough about the catch. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Good for you, but I don't want to talk about it.
Perfect. By the way, so Odell, LSU, you were an amazing wide receiving duo with Jamar Chase and other receivers at LSU. We had Garrett Wilson on the show yesterday, and he said Ohio State wide receivers are the best.
Come on.
And he
believe that himself.
No,
he didn't believe it himself.
I don't know. He seemed pretty confident. You remember Jameson Williams was there with him? I mean, so you're saying LSU is better?
Yeah.
All right, and then I saw DeAndre Hopkins, who said Clemson was a little better, too. There's a lot of competitors, but
what's the real wide receiver you?
What do you and Jamar Chase talk about in the? I mean, it's crazy that you guys won a championship
on the same team.
And did you have any idea that you're both going to take off in the NFL like this?
Nah, you never could really, picture that or plan that. I didn't plan to be have the most yards from my rookie year. I didn't plan on that. My goal for the season was to get 800 yards. That's a good first year for a rookie receiver. 800 yard year. That's what I was planning for, or even 1,000 yards. To overpass that and get 1,400 is something that you can't plan for, and you can vision. It's just something that you just go out there and do. And I was just blessed to be picked to the Vikings. Being in that good situation with Kirk. And Adam, and having KG on our side. So I feel like everything happens for a reason, and me being picked to Minnesota and having the years that I've been having it's all for a reason.
Okay, you mentioned Kirk Cousins. Can you tell us the difference between catching a football from Kirk Cousins and catching a football from Joe Burrow?
Oh, yeah.
Your teammate in college.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you. They're a little similar. They both have a little touch on the ball. It's not too hard, no, it's not too soft. But their accuracy is what separates them. Just putting the ball where you want it. The only difference is the culture difference. Joe is more of our culture, younger, of course, and Kirk is more the dad, and has the family, right?
Kirk Cousins? No, get out of here.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, the man who drives the van? That guy? No way. You tried to make him cool, though. You guys gave him all the chains. He's doing the, dancing on the plane.
How's he doing? Is he getting cooler? I mean, he's trying.
I think he is getting cooler, man. I think he's getting cooler by the year. Just that experience alone, just putting the chains on him and having him, dance to the music and everything. That joke was funny. That was funny. I felt like that opened him up a little bit more. Got him out his comfort zone a little bit. Having the whole team, cheering him on and having a fun time. Of course, after winning the London game, coming back from that trip. So all of that was just a fun experience.
Well, you guys were like trendsetters, because then other teams started to do it. We were like, no, this is the Vikings thing. saying, like, you started the gritty
Not
thing,
the
which
same.
obviously everyone has copied 100
Yeah.
times, including my co-host, who keeps trying to perfect it. Like,
It's done, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I think we
It's
got it
over.
done last time.
Yeah,
didn't
we got done that. No, I mean,
Great memory.
we get people.
Great memory.
So, and you did the hamstring pull and confused everybody.
I know.
Yeah,
Really thought you were hurt right
That,
now.
that was premeditated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was premeditated. Brian O'Neill kind of messed it up a little bit by, tugging me and pushing me. He kind of messed it up, but it was supposed to be the fake hamstring, and then I was going to do my little dance after, but everybody was kind of like, "Oh, is he really hurt?" Because Brian kind of messed it up for me.
It was the euphoria of the moment.
What's the etiquette? I've actually wondered that. When a guy catches a touchdown, I see offensive linemen tackle him before he can do anything. Do you guys talk about that, or is it just so in the moment you're so excited?
Nah, the crazy part is, normally you do the touchdown dance before they even get there.
Right.
They're
You're
running
downfield.
down there.
Yeah.
But
For your
when
catches,
when we're in the red zone and they're kind of closer, they just want to be in the mix. They want to be, the center of attention. But after that moment, I was like, Brian, you owe me one. You owe me a touchdown dance. So that next game, the Patriots game, when I scored the first time, I called everybody over there, the whole line, everybody,
nice.
and we all did the gritty. So it was a fun experience.
Justin Jefferson is our guest, of course, the All-Pro wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. He's joining us on behalf of Sleep Number. Okay, what happened against the Giants? Because you guys were definitely the better team on paper, and you had a home game. What happened? Have you unpacked this yet?
Yeah, kind of. I just didn't get it. I didn't get enough sleep that night. And
No way, you're not going to blame it on the sleep number.
There you go.
I would have performed even better if I would have had better sleep. So.
Not because the Giants were in your head. But really, do you want to go back through it, or are you a turn the page guy and just I'll burn that tape, I don't want to see it?
It is what it is. I feel like, every single game is going to be different. Some games I'm going to be great, fantastic, have 200 yards. And some games, they're going to key on me. They're going to have a game plan against me. They're going to double me, triple me, make sure that I'm out the game plan. That's what people fail to realize. This is an NFL. We're not just gonna just let somebody come into the building and he's gonna get 100 yards every time. It's a tough league to play in every single game, especially the amount of things that I've been doing for my career. People are gonna key on you. You're gonna have a target on your back all the time. Everybody wants to say they locked Justin Jefferson down. So I'm always gonna keep that on my mind. Every single person that I'm going against, if it's Sauce Gardner, or if it's somebody that's lowly ranked. So every game I'm going to have that same mindset to kill whoever is in front of me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Perloff. I was listening to an interview with Adam Thielen was doing with ESPN, your teammate, obviously, and he thought that some of the incredible comeback wins that you guys had, and you kind of pulled some wins out of thin air, he thought some of those might have been actually bad for the team because winning is like the best deodorant, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you lose, you have to look more at, all right, what did we do wrong here? When you win, it's like, well, I guess we're doing everything right. Do you agree with him on that? Did that happen this season?
A little bit, just because we had so many close ones.
Yeah, right.
We was 11-1 in close game wins, including the playoffs. So it's definitely tough to have that many close game wins. There was plenty of times where we were like, all right, this is the game we're going to blow somebody out. This is the game we're going to win by 21 points and have an easy game where we don't have to come back in the last drive of the game. It's tough. It's tough. It's definitely tough to play in this league, to blow a team out in the league. It's definitely difficult, but we definitely had to find a way to beat somebody by more than 7 points.
Yeah. I'm sure your fans would like that.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, on behalf of Sleep Number, we'll get to that in just one more second. The idea that Aaron Rodgers could possibly get traded out of the division, is that something that appeals to you?
That's something that's always going to be appealing to me. He's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Just watching him close up, he's a crazy guy, man. He has a crazy talent to throw that rock, and just his field management, just being able to call audibles and just call plays, and be right there on the spot, just throwing it. It's crazy to see in person. But I'm a fan of Aaron. I always was a fan of Aaron Rodgers, and just to watch him up close in person, especially in his late years of his career,
sure.
It definitely was a joy to watch. But I'll be more happy without him on the Green Bay side.
You realize he's going on a darkness retreat.
Yeah.
A what?
A darkness retreat.
I heard about that.
4 days.
I heard about that.
You're such a social guy, or you seem like such an outgoing social guy.
That.
Could you do that?
No, I mean, I went on. I deactivated my social media. If that counts as a darkness retreat.
That is the young person's version of a darkness retreat.
Yeah. Then also, I was for a week. So that's a long, for a whole week.
Did you
7
panic?
days.
How was it?
It was crazy. It was really, you can really tell you're addicted to social media once you deactivate it and, not have it for a long period of time. Then you catch yourself clicking on it, and, you know what I'm saying? Your account deactivated. So.
I'm sweating just hearing about this.
Yeah.
I think I'm addicted to social media.
Yeah.
This is.
You might be.
I bet you got more sleep, though.
Very.
You're joining us on
I turn my phone off, 10, 11 o'clock, close my eyes, and it definitely was a difference,
Sleep number, important. 80% of active roster players in the NFL.
That goes to show you something.
It obviously works.
Yes,
yeah.
It works a lot. I mean, just the quality that you're getting, the settings that you can change. Make your bed soft or hard. If you have a partner, you can make theirs soft or hard and make yours soft or hard, and they can be different, know. But just the technology, the way you can really track the amount of sleep that you're getting throughout time. It's unbelievable, the amount of technology that they have in those type of beds. And of course they have different type of versions for them. So y'all definitely need to go get y'all a sleep number bed for sure.
I would love that.
Perloff is secretly dying inside that you haven't mentioned his gold wide receiver gloves. He wore those for you.
Couple reasons. I want you to know you're not the only baller up here. And, I could be your Adam Thielen. Obviously, I want you to feel comfortable up here. You can tell I got skills, right, Justin? I'm built like a wide receiver.
I mean, the gloves are definitely sweet. I mean, the silver on them and the orange insides.
You've only had one-handed catch in your career. I mean, I think I could do that.
I think so,
with
too.
the gloves.
I think so, too. With me throwing the ball to you.
Oh, like a trick play? Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
Philly.
Have you ever done that? Thrown a pass?
Yeah, I thrown a pass.
How'd it go?
I never thrown a touchdown pass before, though.
You need me out there.
True.
One-handed catch.
Coach O'Connell and say, hey, I got a cannon over here.
We can just give you 19. You can just get 19. You and Adam can switch.
Just sneak in there. Yeah. Adam could do a radio show.
A new co-host. Like all of a sudden it's Adam.
Hey, man, why is Adam running so slow out there? He must be hurt.
He must have pulled both hamstrings. That's weird.
That is funny.
Justin Jefferson is the all-pro wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings and the personal torturer of my Buffalo Bills. Thanks a lot for that. No, wishing you a great offseason and good luck next season.
Thank you.
Okay, so Justin Jefferson joining us, and hard not to get feel the positive vibes coming from him. But one thing that he said there that I did want to touch on for a moment was it was not a great playoff game for him against the New York Giants. They keyed in on him, had the game plan only for him, and he was held to under 50 yards receiving in that game. And it was surprising. And, this is going to be his future. And no disrespect to Adam Thielen, who still is a good wide receiver, but Adam Thielen's like 33, 34 years old now. And I'm wondering, do the Vikings need to think about this offseason? They got a lot of things to address, but do they need to think about getting a little bit more of a threat? Again, no disrespect to Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
Someone to take away some of the pressure on Jefferson, because he's going to see double teams and triple teams from here on out.
First of all, he was amazing last year. Why wouldn't he have seen? He's probably seen them, and he's beaten them. Thielen's okay. KJ Osborne, remember my accidental fantasy football pick, KJ Osborne? Yeah.
You were sweating that out.
I was in the bathroom or something, and Yahoo gave me KJ Osborne. That guy's really good, too. I hate to say it, you're not going to like this. There's a bit of a system going on in Minnesota where I think they can plug and play and keep on churning up yards. I don't know that they need to invest in a heavy number 2.
Okay, but then when playoff time comes,
that might be true.
Okay, coming up next, from Radio Row here in Phoenix, Mike Golic is going to join us. The original, the OG. Golic will join us. We'll break down the Super Bowl and so much more. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The treadmill is a go. I'm having some issues with the desk, but I walked for 7 glorious minutes, which doesn't bode well for Perloff saying I'm never going to use this treadmill.
The treadmill will never work. How could you possibly enjoy the football games when you're on a treadmill, Maggie?
I was walking at a high speed. I was checking out the levels, but I'm not going to sit on my butt for 12 hours straight.
You are going to sit on your butt for 12 hours straight. Cut to week 7. You're just going to be sitting there. There's going to be nacho cheese dripping down your face. And
They'll be eating the nachos on
balancing the nachos on your stomach as we do on the couch. You'll be like, oh yeah, there's the treadmill. I forgot about that thing 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
By the time Dak Prescott gets back on the field, there will be shirts hanging on that treadmill. No exercise will be done on it. I guarantee.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Small batch, big taste. Crunch a low-carb snack that delivers on bold flavor. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. So glad to have you. We're here on Radio Row, and a man who knows a lot about pork rinds, actually. This is a nice little segue. Someone who's obviously former football player, but to be honest, Mike, Radio Hall of Famer is what, hits me and Perloff in the heart.
No.
What?
He was on Buddy Ryan's.
Yeah, I knew you'd appreciate the defense part of it, yes.
He could own Amazon, and I wouldn't care.
Let me tell you the tough part about that is I was talking to Hassan Reddick earlier this week, and they got there, and he grew up an Eagles fan, obviously, went to Temple and such. But it was like the McNabb and forward area. He wasn't born when we were playing.
Right.
You want to talk about feeling old. And by the way, did you walk the treadmill and watch games?
Yeah, so I'm now a veteran of this, where I have to watch football on Saturdays and Sundays for like 12 straight hours.
Understood.
And finally, after all these years, I'm like, I need to move a little bit. I'm sitting on the couch. We do this for a living.
Right.
So between the for football, first half of the 1 o'clocks and the 4 o'clocks, I'm on the treadmill, and I'm really doing it.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
My thought process is, it's impressive, but I ain't doing it.
Oh, okay.
Is I will work out hard all week, so the weekend I'm not doing that. I am sitting on my butt for 12 hours and watching if I'm not calling a game.
Yeah. And Sunday, obviously, you're going to blow it out, I imagine, food-wise.
Super Bowl.
Oh, well, and this I'm actually on the broadcast team for Westwood One.
Oh, we know it.
Doing the radio, so it's me and Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, and Laura Oakman.
Yep.
So I'm doing it the second year I'm doing it, so I'll actually be working.
Well,
so I'll get some media food up on the press box.
Not the same.
But it's absolutely not the same.
Because you're eating nachos on air, you'll hear that.
You will.
Nachos.
You will. I don't care, but they care.
Yeah.
Wait, but can you sneak some Southern Recipe pork rinds up there?
Oh, I always have a bag of those with me.
Yeah.
But
I feel like you really do. Like, that's
I'm
not a
lying.
line. I feel
I'm
like
not
you
lying.
have them.
No, that's for sure.
One thing about those Buddy Ryan Eagles, I had this conversation the other day. What if there was a coach in today's NFL who put a bounty on the opposing kicker and executed said bounty and bragged about it? How far is that from today's NFL?
Well, I mean, we saw Greg Williams when he got suspended, for the year when he was with the Saints for having the bounty.
Right, but he didn't talk about it the way Buddy Ryan
Nowadays, you'd be banned from the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you absolutely would, because all that happened. I mean, all that went on. I mean, what Greg Williams got suspended for was going on all the time with bounties and such.
Okay.
But again, if you want to talk about, before people say, oh, man, what a jerk Golic is, it was honor amongst thieves. You couldn't collect if it was an illegal hit. If you got a penalty, you didn't get the money. It had to be a clean hit that knocked him out of the game. Wow. Does that make it any better?
And how did you get any bounties with Reggie White and Jerome Allen? And those guys must have collected a lot of money.
Jerome Brown and Jerome Brown, Seth Joyner and Reggie. Yeah. Listen, a lot of people when you get a bounty like that, you're hustling for the money, man.
Mike Golic is joining us on behalf of the Gridiron Greats, and it's Pork Rind Appreciation Day and the Gridiron Greats, which is fantastic. We'll get to more of it in just a moment. All right, defense. This Eagles defensive line is getting a lot. You mentioned Hassan Reddick already. What is Patrick Mahomes in for against this D front.
It's amazing because this is the first time you've had 4 guys with 11 or more sacks.
Yep.
3 with 11 and then Hassan with 16. So, like the other side, you kind of game plan or watch where Chris Jones is going to line up because he can go inside or outside. What are you doing against Philly? Where are you double teaming? But what Kansas City will do, so everybody, when you're watching the game, there are a lot of bells and whistles of the Kansas City offense. A lot of motion, a lot of movement, a lot of window dressing.
That's Andy Reid.
But they'll also use that and they'll chip. They'll use a tight end or a back and to just kind of slow down the edge rushers a half a step to give Pat more time. But there's no doubt he's going to be running. So the question is, he's got the high ankle. It only takes one little twist the wrong way, one little turn the wrong way to see if he can start hobbling again. Or is he just going to do, the short passes? Dump the ball, get rid of it. Jared McKinnon, who had 9 touchdown receptions, that's a running back. Get the ball out to him, hit some quick slants. Or, of course, get the ball to Travis Kelce over the middle.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes can do that? If, say, he can't run, contain his game, throw the ball quickly, he always wants to make a play and hang it.
Well, he does, and that was a problem for him because he wanted to make a play, and instead of checking down. So he's kind of learned the art of, okay, let me take what they're giving me instead of holding out for more. He holds out for more in this one, he's going to get smacked around a lot. He's already understand 70 sacks in the regular season. That's usually a third of the amount of hits you're putting on. So pressures, you're talking in the high hundreds that the Eagles are able to get and put on the quarterback because it's not always just about sacks. It's about moving a quarterback off his spot.
Mike Golic is joining us on behalf of the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund, which we'll talk about because it's fantastic and it's giving back to those who built the game.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that for sure. But flip it over quickly to now Kansas City's defense. I mean, it's Chris Jones, Frank Clark. Chris Jones actually dealing with a cold. Did you guys see that? He's feeling sick. I mean, have to imagine he's going to be fine for Sunday.
Yeah.
But, how can they apply pressure to Jalen Hurts?
Well, the thing about the first thing is stop the run because that's what the Eagles want to do first because you have an extra runner in Jalen Hurts with the power quarterback runs. So you got to be able to do that because if they can run the ball, man, it's going to be tough to stop because then play action is going to be a breeze once you start to slow down that D-line. So probably running the edges more because you got Chris Jones in the middle to try and occupy that. I think what they'll try and do, Chris Jones moves around a lot. We saw him over at left end in the championship game getting that final sack. But you got Lane Johnson as a right tackle for the Eagles. Now, I'm sure Chris Jones believes he can beat him, but you want to look for that matchup, that better matchup. We did that with Reggie White. Move him up and down the line, find more of a weak link. And I think it'll be over the guards. You got Dickerson, the left guard, dealing with the elbow issue. So I think it'll be over the guards. So you bring up a backer, maybe fake a blitz occasionally to occupy Kelce for a beat and let Chris Jones kind of try and get that push on a guard. That's kind of the way I'll see that going.
Our friend Peter King wrote on Football Morning America, that the Eagles' offensive line is considered by some one of the great offensive lines in history. Now, I think of the Cowboys' offensive lines you went at as really, to me, that's the greatest one I think I've ever seen. Do you put this current Eagles line in that conversation?
Tough to go in history. I mean, go back to the Steelers when they won in 4 Super Bowls in those years. I mean, phenomenal offense. There's been some great offensive lines, but they are a great line. Am I going to rank them in the top 3 or 5 history? That's tough to do. I'm bad at that kind of thing. They are good, and the key for them is they stayed more healthy this year. But you got 3 Pro Bowlers and 2 Pro Bowl alternates in there. You got Lane Johnson, Hall of Famer probably. You got Kelce as a Hall of Famer as well. So it's a heck of a line.
Mike Golic joining us on behalf of the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund and Pork Rind Appreciation Day. I mean, you got 2 really great things there. We'll get to it in a moment. We talked about the lines. We've talked about how you see this kind of playing out. X factors. I mean, something weird always happens in a Super Bowl. What do you think it's going to be this time?
So defense possibly scoring for Philadelphia.
You like that? Okay.
And offensively, look at the backs. Isaiah Pacheco, because he's a 4-3 guy, and Philly can be a little susceptible to the run. So if he bounces one outside, or I said before, Jared McKinnon, catching the ball out of the backfield. If Pat has to get rid of the ball quick, get it to a guy like that. So the backs for Kansas City, all the talk is Mahomes and throwing the ball. It looks like they'll have all the receivers, I think, except maybe for Hardman. I think it will be out with the hip. But watch out for the backs for KC.
Yeah, not to mention Kenneth Gainwell, who, as an Eagles fan, even I'm like, Kenneth Gainwell is this good? What can you remember a guy who stepped up in the playoffs like that?
He's been amazing. He's been great. Miles Sanders has a career year as far as rushing touchdowns and rushing yardage. So they got it going on right now.
Mike, tell us about the Gridiron Greats program. We know this is important to you.
Yeah, it is. I've been on the board of the Gridiron Greats now for a while now, and our Southern Recipe Small Batch has done a great job in partnering up. So it's porkrindappreciationday.com is the website to go to. And instead of snacks, we want you to pick sacks. Pick the team you think is going to get the sacks. I'm sure a lot of people are going to go with the Eagles on that one. You can win $5,000 and a year's supply of pork rinds, which is pretty darn nice. But I think even more importantly than that, and this again thanks to Southern Recipe Small Batch, is the money that goes to the Gridiron Greats Assistance program. The way I put it is, when a guy's down on the field, teammates down, you reach your hand down and help them up. It's kind of what we're doing. You know, the players that played, you know, my time and way before me as well, don't get a lot of the benefits of the CBA now when you're a former player. So things as simple as, you know, doctor visits, dentist visits, mortgage, getting a ride somewhere to one of those things. That's what this does. We assist them in the everyday needs that they have, because they didn't make the money that we made or guys today make, or get a lot of the benefits, as I said. So it's a great program, and it's just about helping those players that need a little bit of help. Because I think a lot of people have a misconception: if you played pro ball, no matter when, you're set for life. And that is just not true. Not true. So it's a great thing to help them.
That is awesome. And Southern Recipe Small Batch and doing a great job helping everyone. You know, I would imagine this would be torture for you, which is what Aaron Rodgers is doing, a darkness retreat. Now, you've been talking for a living now for like the last 25 years. Okay. You seem like a very social person. I can't imagine you would want to go into a dark cave for 4 days.
I would do it, but it would be a different outcome. While people are looking for spiritual enlightenment, I would get 4 days of great sleep. I would wake up, I would feel rested, and someone would say, "Did you find yourself?" I said no, because I wasn't looking for myself, and I was just going for some rest.
I'm hibernate.
Basically. It's exactly right. I'm not. Listen, I don't want to mock it, because maybe for some people they like it. I have no idea, but I'm an inch deep and a mile wide. You know, I can't even do yoga for an hour because I can't concentrate.
You know what you need? Ayahuasca.
Oh, I know. At first I thought it was peyote, but it was ayahuasca. Yeah.
That's probably safe.
One of those things, right? Just give it a shot, right?
It's the combination, I think, that really gets to the heart of it. Okay, and in honor of Aaron Rodgers, we've been doing this for a lot of people. We know he was a guest in an astrology webinar the other day.
Yes.
What's your sign, sir?
My sign is Sagittarius.
Okay, Sagittarius.
Yes.
Would you like your horoscope for today, Mike Golic?
I would love it. I mean, I got a half the day to go, so is it going to be good?
Okay, the reason a certain individual is talking so fast is because they don't want you to stop and think long enough to realize they're trying to cheat you. Oh,
wow.
No. If your sixth sense is telling you they can't be trusted, and it should be, you must listen to it.
Oh, so I got to go with my, maybe
You're in danger.
Maybe I do need the dark 4 days so I can have that sixth sense. You know, to figure out what's going on. Wow, that was kind of deep.
I wasn't expecting it to be that deep.
No, honestly, my eyes almost glazed over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is this hitting home for you at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, maybe you and Rodgers don't have that.
No, we definitely don't.
Quite all right.
Have you made a pick for the game yet?
I can't. I'm on the broadcast team.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, that would be very bad as I'm talking to each team if they know I picked the other team.
But clearly, he's thinking Eagles. I could tell just by. Am I that guy who's trying to rip up?
You're doing that thing again.
I know.
I figured you'd say that.
No, Maggie.
I said overconfident Eagles fans. You guys are a dangerous bunch.
I walked off the set. She's like, "Oh, you beat the Giants and an injured Brock Purdy, and you haven't proven yourself yet."
I'm like, you guys are climbing up poles.
But what's the regular season? I mean, didn't they prove themselves in the regular season? They beat the snot out of everyone except for games Jalen wasn't around for.
Second easiest schedule.
But you know what I say? They say, well, what do you say to those that if they said, well, you didn't play anybody in the playoffs? I'd clear my throat and I'd say, don't care. I'm in the Super Bowl and you're not. And that's it.
Fantastic. Mike Golic is on behalf of Gridiron Greats, Southern Recipe Small Batch, Pork Rind Appreciation Day. Mentioned the incredible pick sacks for snacks, right? $5,000 in a year of pork rinds is the grand prize, and isn't it a fantastic grand prize? Yes. Mike, always great to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. It is Maggie and Perloff. We're here on Radio Row. We're going to keep the guests coming. Up next, T. Higgins, wide receiver for your Cincinnati Bengals, will join the program. We'll get to the bottom of what happened in that AFC Championship game and what his future looks like. Is he going to be in Cincinnati? That's a big question. More Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row. Come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff, and again, another guest who just tortured my Buffalo Bills. Another guest who we have to talk about their excellent performance in the postseason. No, we're happy to. T. Higgins is here from the Cincinnati Bengals on behalf of Old Spice. Perloff trying to impress him with his wide receiver gloves on. T, how would you describe this season for you?
I feel like it went pretty good. Obviously, not the ending that we wanted, but I feel like I had a pretty good season.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think you were great this season. I mean, what did it feel like, and how different was it from years past?
Yeah, just felt good, being on the winning side, winning those I think it was 10, 11 straight, and that's hard to do it in the league, and for us to be able to do that this year was really cool to see, and it felt good to do.
I was wearing the gloves because you're used to being with Jamar Chase, and you're probably more comfortable around an excellent wide receiver. Could I be your number 2? Or
hey man, as long as you can catch it.
Yeah.
Are we sure you can catch the ball? We know you can dress like you can catch the ball.
So in Cincinnati, it's funny because I think you can make a great argument. You have 2 number 1 receivers with you and Jamar Chase. I don't know if you ever think about that. How do you view yourself in terms of a number 1 or a number 2?
Yeah, obviously I view myself as a number 1.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I got Chase on the other side. We complement each other, and I feel like that's how we go about it. Then we got TB right there at the number 3, and he's a great guy, great vet that helps me and Chase out when we need help. So.
Yeah, Boyd is excellent as well. T. Higgins is our guest. Now, you're going into the last year of your rookie deal. You're not a free agent, but there's been some talk about your future. If you could plan this out perfectly, how do you hope this offseason goes?
And I love Cincinnati. I love being in the city. I love the fans there, and I love everything that's going forward for this organization. So I would love being in Cincinnati for a long time.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I'm totally down with it. I mean, you guys got something special going. How much does Joe Burrow factor into that?
A lot. Just playing with him is unbelievable. When I first got there, I didn't think that we was going to be, this good so fast. I thought we was going to have to build up to it. And, me and Joe, we knew that. And when we came in, he told me, he said, we can build something special here. And then that very next year, we drafted Chase. And obviously, we went on that Super Bowl run. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what he was talking about.
Okay, settle something for us, because, he gets a lot of praise for how cool he dresses. But then Jamar said that he's actually his personal stylist, and that in real life, Joe Burrow's dressing in like khaki pants, looks like a soccer dad.
Looks like me.
Yeah, right.
Chase,
sad dad.
Chase definitely gets Joe right. I've seen him buy clothes for Joe multiple times, and we're just trying to get him to step it up a little bit. That's it.
Baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Build this thing brick by brick. T. Higgins is our guest on behalf of Old Spice Swagger. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the AFC Championship game. Do you want to unpack that? I mean, I can't imagine how you guys must have felt. On the outside, a lot of people were talking about officiating and then the end of the game. But what were you guys talking about in the locker room about why that went south?
At the end of the day, you can talk about officiating, but I mean, us players don't want to, for real. Because it's other stuff we could have did within the game to make it not come down to what it did. You know what I'm saying? Then obviously the play at the end to put them in more of a field goal range was obviously not something that we wanted to do. Joe didn't mean that. He was just trying to make a football play at the end of the day.
At the end.
Yeah. But they played great over there. They was able to finish, and we just wasn't able to finish at the end of the day.
I think that Mahomes' ankle, weirdly, I don't think it's going to be a factor. He played on it 4 days later against you guys. He was limping at the end.
He looked normal to me when he was playing, and he had a hell of a game. So
I'm an Eagles fan. I don't want to hear that. You ever have a high ankle sprain or an injury?
I've definitely had one before, and it's hard to play on it. And I'm really shocked that he did. And hats off to him to going out there and getting it done.
To cut. I mean, that must be really hard.
I mean, quarterback, you got to drop back, and and the pocket's getting collapsed. You got to move around, and he was able to do that, which is crazy to see.
So we've had a few big time receivers here. We had Garrett Wilson yesterday and Justin Jefferson today, and they were arguing. Garrett said Ohio State is wide receiver U. Justin Jefferson clearly said LSU. And then I saw DeAndre Hopkins walking around. So which is it? Clemson is in the mix, right?
I'm definitely going Clemson. You know,
we had a feeling.
Obviously, you got me, Hop, Sammy Watkins, Martavius Bryant when he was in the league.
Yep.
Mike Williams, Ray McLeod's in the league.
A guy who caught a
Hunter
catch to win a
Renfrow.
championship. Yeah, don't forget him.
I can keep going. Amari Rodgers. I can keep going on and on.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's funny how these schools, what's it like to go from college where you have so much talent in the room to the pros, and you join a guy like Chase. It must be a good competition.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We compete with everything, whether it be practice, games, or how many catches, how many yards, how many touchdowns. We compete every single day just to make each other better.
What about celebrations? You guys?
Oh, yeah, we definitely come up with celebrations. The guy that really comes up with it is Joe Mix. He's the dancing king in the locker room. So
when he took the coin out and then kicked it into the stands, we all saw that one for sure. T. Higgins, just a few more minutes with you. On behalf of Old Spice Swagger, deodorants, body washes, everything. Trevor Lawrence, one of your college teammates, obviously. It was almost like that rookie year, didn't happen, and then we got to see the real Trevor Lawrence this year. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Obviously he didn't have the rookie year that he wanted, but this last year, I seen Trevor, play his game. He had finally got some weapons, and he just been distributing the ball like I know he can.
All right, who's got more swagger, Trevor or Joe Burrow?
Ooh, tough.
I'm gonna have to go Joe, because Joe, he like the style a little bit. Trevor more of just a suit guy,
He's got that hair though.
I know.
But at the same time, Joe likes to wear his suits, but on Joe's suits he like the designs and stuff like that. So, and then he got the glasses. So I'm gonna have to go with Joe Burrow on that one.
T, you really use Old Spice? You love it?
Yeah, every single day.
Yeah.
It always keep me fresh. Before games, before practice, after games. I like to just throw it on and feel good.
One last one for you, a little bit more serious. You had a concussion this year. League came out and said that concussions were up 18%. Did you notice a difference in the protocols from years past, and were they a little bit more intense or something?
Yeah. The protocols are definitely more intense. You gotta check in every single day, go through a checklist, just to make sure everything's okay and make sure you're not getting none of those symptoms. So it's definitely a lot. But once you get past it and you pass the test, you're all good.
We saw Tua this year, get several concussions. You've been through it yourself. Is it, crazy to think after having multiple in a season that he's gonna be back to normal?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
He'll be back to normal. Hopefully nothing too serious. But obviously 2 concussions in one season is crazy. And because one is enough. Honestly, and just seeing him have 2, especially how they was, versus us, and then versus the first one he had was, is pretty serious. So.
T. Higgins, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. On behalf of Old Spice Swagger, deodorants and body washes, Old Spice Swagger gives you the confidence to perform under the spotlight, 24/7, long-lasting freshness.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, T.
Good luck this offseason. Keeping an eye on that. T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. More Maggie and Perloff after this from Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona.
Sports Flash.
All right, guys, NBA trade season is over. 16 trades in the association between yesterday and today's 3 p.m. Eastern trade deadline, with the Suns making the biggest splash. Phoenix acquired superstar Kevin Durant from the Nets for Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks. The Nets then sent Crowder to the Bucks for 5 second-rounders. Other notable deals before the deadline: Patrick Beverley goes to the Magic, Mo Bamba to the Lakers. In another deal, the Lake Show sent Thomas Bryant to the Nuggets for Devon Reed and 3 second-round picks. As we move towards Sunday in Super Bowl 57, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce says quarterback Patrick Mahomes understands the impact he is making on the sport.
He understands the grand scheme of things, man. He understands what his legacy means. He understands how he's a pioneer in a sense, and he's paving the way for a lot of young football players, and definitely a lot of young black football players.
Kelce also adding at his team's media availability today that he is pretty sure that Mahomes will win the MVP award. The NFL MVP award will be announced tonight. I'm Dexter Henry.
He always has a rant. he always has a take. He's Jim Rome, and he's only on CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff, live from Radio Row. Very exciting. I've had a lot of awkward media encounters with people that know me and I don't know, but I handle it really well.
Look at you, flex.
No, I mean, that doesn't happen to you 1,000 times?
Maybe a little.
Yeah. Well, I just don't remember anybody.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But I did
Remember like a goldfish.
did spend a half hour talking to Kirk Cousins about kids. He's got a 3-year-old son like you.
Oh, yeah? Does he want to
And-
bring him up to the podium? after a
No,
game?
I didn't. I've been trying to distance myself from that take because everything I write now, by the way, someone says somehow works in your hot take about kids should not be at the podium in creative ways. I know you get it too.
I thought that was where this was going. What else did Kirk Cousins have to say? You guys got to talk a little bit off the air.
It was just that having boys is a different animal than having girls. And Maggie, I feel bad for you. I told him about our interview with Justin Jefferson, which was interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, they have really good offense. I said, hey, you guys did great this year. But I didn't tell him this, but I don't know how the Vikings get over the top. Your idea is sign another receiver.
I mean, that's what I thought. You know, just because Jefferson is sitting here saying, I'm double teamed, I'm triple teamed,
Yeah.
you know, it's an entire defense is just keying up just to stop me. I mean, listen, maybe that's a little bit on Dalvin Cook too, you know, and getting the run game going a little bit. And no disrespect to Adam Thielen, who's going into year 10.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins has been walking around. Everybody wants DeAndre. Everybody wants another big-name receiver, like A.J. Brown of the Eagles. But the Chiefs, they lost their big-name receiver, and they're right here. So I don't know that it's that simple.
Well, they have the best quarterback in the league, so a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, the second-best quarterback on Sunday behind Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I know. They let the Eagle flag
Actually,
fly.
it's not that different because Aaron Rodgers was the reigning
That's
MVP, and he fell apart without Devontae. It's so hard to tell. I think the Vikings need to fix the defense, and I think they're headed that way. So it's interesting. You know, what do you need the top 5 quarterback to win a Super Bowl? I think you believe you do.
I don't know. It's funny because we've been talking about super teams now because of the NBA and
Yeah,
obviously
absolutely.
the massive trade with Kevin Durant. It's so different in the NFL. Do you need a top 5 quarterback? No, you don't need it. I mean, your Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, who nobody thought was a top 5 quarterback. He's not even a top 15 quarterback. But you had such a complete team, and I think that's more what this Eagles team is like, a more complete team with a much better quarterback, Jalen Hurts, a much more dangerous quarterback with Hurts. I don't think you necessarily need a top 5. No.
But your Bills have Josh Allen.
Yeah.
When you have a Josh Allen, the expectation is Super Bowl or bust.
Definitely.
There's no other. So it's sort of a catch-22. I mean, to transition to the NBA,
Yeah.
the other Kevin Durant in Phoenix, they have Kevin Durant. Now, what's a good season? A ring.
Have to win.
Have to win and not even get to the finals, but they've been to the finals.
They were at the finals without Kevin Durant. Like now you are hoping this is to put you over the top. And listen, I mean, super teams, yeah, they work sometimes. They do.
Yeah.
But they've also become a bit of like a cautionary tale in the NBA because you have a super team like the Warriors that's like put together a dynasty. You have a super team like when LeBron James went to Miami where you win 2 rings, but there's been some spectacular fails with super teams. I mean,
But the Golden State's not a super team
why not?
because they all came up organically. Super team means you're bringing guys from the outside.
That's like a mercenary team. Yeah.
A mercenary team, and also Steph Curry,
But
Klay Thompson.
Durant going to the Warriors became a super team.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, my guys. Well, yes, but not exactly. They didn't pull everyone in from the outside. And Draymond Green is not part of a super team. That's what I keep saying to you. You define super team because these guys win title. I mean, listen, James Harden is not super. What defines a super team? Why are the Suns a super team?
Well, because they have future Hall of Famer Chris Paul, who I know
But
is at the end of his career.
He's 38 years old.
They have future Hall of Famer and still one of the top 5 players in the league in Durant when he's healthy. Devin Booker, as I know
I
for
think he's
you, is
amazing.
one of your favorite. I mean, honestly, like Booker, Tatum, like these are 2 guys who could be the future and are the future of
Yeah.
the league. And then you have Ayton, who you paid money to and who is a former top pick. So it's a super team.
No.
You just killed your depth with this trade, but you're a super team.
I disagree. I think you need 3 superstars to be a super team.
Who are not on their original team? Then
Well,
Miami,
not even that.
then
Not even
Miami
that.
wouldn't-
No, I think you have 2 superstars with this team. I think you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I don't think you can count Chris Paul as a superstar anymore. And DeAndre Ayton is a center in a league that doesn't like centers. So I think there's just two.
No, but I think that, well, if you want to go back to the original question about pressure and what's, I mean, you want to talk about Chris Paul finally winning a ring?
Yeah, but
38 years old?
It's not about him anymore. Do you consider Dallas with Luka and Kyrie a super team?
No.
Because they
Not
just
yet.
have two. You need three.
You need three, I think, for the super team. And so the Warriors definitely count. It's Steph, it's Clay, and it was Durant.
When they added Durant.
Yes,
But
when they
when you
added
originally had Draymond, Steph, and Clay, that's not super team at all. Super team, you're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
In the Maggie and Perloff dictionary, it means bringing in from the outside. Super.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the Eagles dream team in 2011 when they brought
Nnamdi
in
Asomugha?
Yeah, Nnamdi Asomugha. They paid like $30 million a year back then, and Vince Young. Vince Young was the one who said we have a dream team. You're right, but
He was the backup.
We always mess it up in the moment, Maggie. We always think this is going to work.
Okay, so do you think this Phoenix one's going to work?
I think this is going to work.
Okay, so you're falling right back into the trap.
Absolutely. I don't think Dallas will work.
Dallas, I still don't know if they have enough. They're going to be
Yeah.
they're going to be Denver. I mean, I know you think Denver frauds because you don't like Jokic, but
Whoa. That's putting a
I'm
lot
sorry.
into my mouth.
Is that not your take?
It is my take, but that is what do I say? No, I
when you say it.
I think that Denver is not built for the playoffs. They've not done well in the playoffs. They don't scare you.
Well, they're healthier now.
What are you talking? Oh, because they didn't have Jamal Murray last year, but they've had Jamal Murray and Jokic in the playoffs and not done
Porter.
anything. And okay, he's not going to say no. Okay, give me the Warriors then, if you or Miss Nuggets. Come
Well,
on.
I'm just wondering about. I mean, I know Steph Curry's injury isn't season-ending, but like, let's see. You know, that looked like
do they just mail it in? What-
I'm not sure.
Hey, we have not talked about the impact. The Lakers are making deals left and right. And before the Durant trade, the lead on ESPN, because it's LeBron, was, hey, did the Lakers add enough to be a real contender? And maybe you could convince yourself, if you squinted, that D'Angelo Russell could be that missing piece. But now that Durant's in Phoenix, that feels like yesterday's news.
Yeah, it does. It feels like all the good vibes from LA kind of got blown out of the water. So it's like D'Angelo Russell. I mean, it's kind of like getting rid of Westbrook kind of feels like it's a value add. Like the addition by subtraction, because the final straw obviously is the news that came out that Darvin Ham and Russell Westbrook got into it at halftime of the game where LeBron breaks Kareem's all-time scoring record. Like, that's not what you want on a night that's supposed to be celebratory. And by the way, you got a game you really you're battling right now with OKC, who's one spot ahead of you as you're vying for the play-in tournament. You want to win that game and the LeBron thing on top of it, get into it with the coach at halftime. Like, that's just bad vibes all over the place. So Westbrook gone, D'Angelo Russell in. I mean, another scorer, not really a big defense guy, but, can distribute the ball as well. And then they just traded for Mo Bamba. Patrick Beverly is now gone. Mo Bamba is in. Mo Bamba, who had a nice season for Miami last year, but his minutes were severely cut this season. So maybe they found another contributor here.
Or was that addition by subtraction as well?
I don't know.
I didn't feel like Patrick Beverly was not worth the squeeze there. All right, what is Mo Bamba's averaging? 7.3
Well, look at last
points
year.
a game. Okay.
Over 10 points a game last year. He was fine.
He's fine. Yeah, it's just
You're tinkering
it's
around
not
the
enough.
margins here, though, with the Lakers, right? It's always going to be LeBron and KD. And now with D'Angelo Russell, what does that give you? It doesn't give you like a contender.
No.
In my opinion. Because also, I don't know how long Anthony Davis is going to be healthy. And I hate to say that, but, I mean, he's unfortunately proved me right.
I was thinking when LeBron was setting the record, man, he is still so good.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's so good. It's a waste at 38 that he's not winning the title. Oh, I think our
Yeah, our next guest is walking over
who's
towards us now,
a
who
big Lakers fan.
is and become like a de facto mascot, like the Spike Lee for the Knicks. Now our next guest has kind of become that for the Lakers. Shannon Sharpe is making his way to the podium.
He's not
our
that.
podium.
He's not that big, Maggie.
Oh, come on.
I could take him.
I swear to you, you and Sully, our friends, I'm just sitting here to see if I'm actually how much bigger Shannon Sharpe is than me.
Yeah.
People are
He's not that much bigger than me.
That's not true.
No,
Don't lie to people who this is theater of the mind.
No, he's about my height.
He's not. He's not. And he's going to be coming over
And,
here in just a moment.
I mean, he's a good. He's a good shape. I don't know. I could take him. No.
I feel bad in a way for Shannon Sharpe because he probably gets this now everywhere he goes. Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Fame tight end, the host of Undisputed, Shannon Sharpe. We're telling that you are now like Spike Lee is for the Knicks. You're now for the Lakers. You're the mascot. But my co-host just said, and we're obviously on radio, we're streaming on YouTube.com, but he said, oh, Shannon Sharpe, I'm as big as him. I'm like, don't lie to me.
Wait, how tall are you?
Perloff.
I'm 6'2".
So I'm 6'3".
It doesn't matter. He still looks taller than you. And he's still in better shape than you. Don't compare.
Yeah. How many could you have? Your right arm tied behind your back. You could take me in any circumstance. Don't you think?
It all depends on what we're doing. I mean, if we're working out, I'm probably stronger in one arm than you are in both. But
no, if it was a fight, which would never happen.
Yeah, I done got too old to fight. Those guys at Memphis scared me, so I'm
yeah, right.
My woofing days are over.
You know, Shannon, and if you're joining us on behalf of Talk About Prostate Cancer, which we'll get to in just a moment, Talk That Talk. You know, you have become the de facto mascot here for the LA Lakers, which I'm sure you wear with pride because that's not it's an exclusive club to get into. With the trades now, Russell Westbrook is gone, D'Angelo Russell is here, and now Mo Bamba is here with Patrick Beverley sent out. How much does this change the outlook for the Lakers in reality?
Well, I still think they need another piece. I think they need another shooter still. I like it. I think D'Angelo Russell is he's a better, more efficient offensive player than Russ. He doesn't provide some of the things that Russ does. Russ is great at getting the attacking. He's a great change of pace guy. He'll attack the rim. He's great in transition. Turnovers are a little high. He's not the most efficient. And as he's aged, his efficiency has gotten even worse. But he doesn't cheat you. He plays hard. I just hope he ends up, I don't know if he's going to get bought out by Utah. I just hope he ends up somewhere that they embrace him. Allow him to play a style of basketball. Now, he can't be that high usage, inefficient, poor shooter, turnover prone guy, but I hope he can morph into something that he's embraced, because I like Russ. I like the fact that he plays hard on a nightly basis. He doesn't cheat you, but I'm not so sure the style of basketball that he wants to play, I'm just not so sure that you can win with that style of play.
What was your reaction the other night when LeBron set the record?
I couldn't believe it, because I was probably the only guy in the building that didn't believe that he was going to break the record, because 36 points just doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
I mean, people say like, oh, he going to get the record. No, I'm like, do y'all understand how hard 36 points is to get? And
he makes it look easy.
He makes it look easy. But I'm old enough to remember when Kareem set the record in '84 when he threw the skyhook on Mark Eaton and Thomas and Mack. And people don't realize that Kareem played until '88. He retired in '88. So he added another 6,800 points to the scoring record, because the record was, I think Wilt had the record at 31,419. He ended up with 38,367. So, 37, something like that. So what LeBron is, let's just say for the sake of argument, if LeBron adds 6,800 or 7,000 more points to the record what he has right now, that's over 45,000 points.
But Shannon, is he going to add more titles?
I look at LeBron like Tom. Tom could still put up numbers, but they didn't have the impact they did when he was younger. So you have to add more pieces around him. Tom needs better. Tom needs more. You see, when he first got to Tampa, he had Godwin, he had Mike Evans, he had better players. Now these players have gotten a little older. He needs even better players. That's kind of what LeBron does. He needs better players around him, because you see he's averaging 30, but that 30 doesn't have the same impact that it did when he was in Cleveland the first time, or in Miami the first time, or when he went back to Cleveland. That 30 doesn't have the same impact. So Tom throwing for 300 yards, it doesn't have the same impact that it did early in his career when he was in New England.
Wait a minute. So when you were at the game when LeBron broke the record, you didn't think he was going to break it, but when Jay-Z walked in and his wife and his mom, is that what finally tipped you off? It's like, oh, wait a minute, Phil Knight is here from Nike. Maybe tonight is the night.
Well, I know they didn't want to run the risk of him breaking and not be there. So I believe those same cast of characters were going to be back tonight, because they played Milwaukee tonight.
Yeah, he's not playing, by the way.
Oh, he's not?
No, I believe I just saw that he's not going to play.
But I told him, because had he not broken the record, I was going to fly back. I had already, we was getting ready to have a private jet to fly back, make it, and come back, because I still have to do the show tomorrow. So I said, bruh, after the game when he walked over to the side, he hugged me and congratulated me for being. He thanked me for being there. I said, "Bro, you saved me a lot of money because I was damn sure coming back." And I had already told my bosses at Fox. I said, "I don't care what we're doing. If LeBron James is playing, I'm gonna go see. If it's in LA, I'm flying to go see him play."
We're talking to Shannon Sharpe. Of course, I hate asking all these basketball questions to such a great football player. Real quick, Kevin Durant in Phoenix, bus driver or bus passenger?
Well, I look at it a lot. Look, Charles and Chuck and Kenny, I look at the game. He's a bus driver. I mean, Kevin Durant is a transcendent player. He's a historical figure in the NBA, and you cannot tell the story of the NBA without telling Kevin Durant being a participant in it. I just think the thing is now, I like the addition. What does CP3 have left, though? Devin Booker, that hamstring has been a problem for him. Kevin Durant has missed 83 games in 3 years. I'm not talking about the first year he got to Brooklyn and he rehabbed the entire season. So that's 83 games and counting. So that's about 27. So we're with 27 games a season. Okay, he's going to be out through the All-Star game. How many more games do they play before then? And is he coming back right out of the All-Star break, or does it goes into March? So now the history says these guys fall apart more so than not. You have to factor that in. I'm not taking anything away from Book. Book can go get buckets with the best of them. We know what KD is. He's probably the most efficient, least needing of the ball player that we've seen ever.
Yep.
But he has an injury history that needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
Devin Booker has an injury history that needs to be discussed. Chris Paul, we saw Chris Paul not look like the same Chris Paul when they played the Mavericks. He had some spells against the Pelicans where he didn't look like himself. And this year, no one can tell me, oh, that's Chris Paul from 5 years ago. It's not. And then who's going to defend? You lose your best wing defender, 3-and-D guy, Mikal Bridges. You lose Jay Crowder. And then DeAndre Ayton, he plays, I guess, kind of when he feels like it. He can give you 20 and 18, but he can give you 10 and 6. And then how often is he and Monty going to butt heads again? Because have they repaired that?
It's all in the stew. We got one more quick one for you before we get about Talk the Talk. We know this is important to you. We want to get it in, but very quickly, you're a Hall of Fame tight end. Is Travis Kelce the best tight end ever?
I think if he wins the Super Bowl, I think he still has at least 2 years in this wheelhouse where he is right now. I think he has 6 or 7 consecutive years with 1,000-yard receiving season. No other tight end has more than 4, and he's strung together 6 or 7. You look at his body of work come playoff time, he has the second most touchdowns. He's tied with Gronk behind Jerry Rice. I think when it's all said and done, he's going to have the most compelling case that he's the greatest tight end to ever play.
Talk that talk. It's something that's near and dear to you about men getting checked out for prostate cancer.
It is. We're asking black men to go get screened, start getting screened at the age of 40. Excuse me, guys. I'm losing my voice here. I've been talking about 6 hours now. We ask black men to go get screened at the age of 40. Prostate cancer, black men are 2 times more likely to develop prostate cancer than the white counterpart. There's a 68% chance that if you're a black male and your father have developed prostate cancer or a brother have developed prostate cancer, you'll also develop it. But it's one of the most treatable and curable forms of cancer if screened early, diagnosed early, and get treatment. There's a 96% survival rate if screened early, diagnosed, and treated early. I'm in that 96%. Now, because of my history, my dad died at 39. He had 2 brothers that didn't make it to the age of 50. So that's 3 brothers in one family that didn't make it to 50. My dad died at 39. So I started getting screened at 35. I got screened, and I just remember the person that did the screening wasn't the person that called me back. Now my heart's beating fast. I'm like, why? You always call when it's clear, when it's routine. Now all of a sudden the lady, and she's being very, very professional. She's being very, very slow. I'm like, lady, this is not a movie. Just get to it. I got cancer, don't I? Because that's kind of what I was like. I got cancer, don't I? And so to hear that C word, I had no symptoms, no abdominal pain, didn't urinate for blood or anything like that. And so it was tough to hear that the C word. but because I got screened early, I was able to get the treatment I needed and beat it.
The Hall of Famer, Shannon Sharpe. TalkThatTalkPC.com. That's where you get the information. TalkThatTalkPC.com. Shannon, thank you.
Thanks
We're
for having
back
me
with
on.
more after this from Radio Row.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
No, I remember when I lived in a studio apartment with my husband before we were married, and literally the second best seat in our apartment was the toilet. It was like couch 1, toilet 2.
When I was first in New York City, it was a studio apartment. The toilet was not protected. It was just sitting out like in the dining room. Just like there was no room around it. So you'd be like at a dinner party or something. Excuse me for a moment. Go, no, keep talking to me. I'm fine. I'm just right here. What do you mean, do I eat in front of the TV? Is there any other place to eat? We don't have a dining room. If I had a dining room, I'd rent it out to a family of 3, $3,000 a month.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row is sponsored by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, the protein-packed snack that's bold as you are. Be big, be bold, be adventurous. Look for them in the snack aisle at your local grocer. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're here, Radio Row in Phoenix. These shows have been phenomenal. We just had Shannon Sharpe on the set. If you miss any part of the Maggie and Perloff show, we got a podcast. You can download it. He did say that Travis Kelce will go down as the greatest tight end of all time. And, of course, Shannon is a Hall of Fame tight end himself. But he I can't tell if he was begrudging about it, Perloff. It wasn't like slam dunk, no chance. It wasn't like a runaway Travis Kelce's the best. He said, well, when we look back on it, all the 1,000-yard seasons, all the touchdowns, okay, yeah, he'll be the best.
I mean, we didn't really have time to get into it, but if Shannon Sharpe played in today's game, what kind of tight end would he be? It would be, today's game is so much easier to pass. That's why Shannon Sharpe was such an exceptional player in his time. He was a one-of-one weapon. Then you got, obviously, Antonio Gates, Gronk, Travis Kelce. So he didn't say that, but that would have been my argument. Yes, Travis Kelce is going to put up better numbers than everyone, but we know the passing game is so different. And Travis Kelce probably 30 years ago would have been asked to do something completely different.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, that's, I think, why Gronk might really have a case. Because, Gronk really is, not that Kelce is not a good blocking tight end, but Gronk really,
I would say, though, that Kelce has proven he's a little bit better receiver. Gronk would just
Gronk
basically
had all those injuries, I mean, for years.
Gronk would just basically run straight down the field, push people off him. Kelce's basically a wide receiver. Yeah. His skills are ridiculous. I do find... I forget the historical comparison. What Travis Kelce is doing is unbelievable right now. The Eagles, I know they're going to bracket him or something. I don't even know if that works.
I mean, it hasn't.
It hasn't at all.
No, nobody.
We watch it. We're just like, shut down Travis Kelce, and the rest will be easy. Who's going to beat you? MVS, McCall Hardman, or Juju, Pacheco? No, it's Kelce, but it doesn't seem to matter with Kansas City.
We are streaming and we are live across the country on all of our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. We're also streaming on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And Jeffrey in the chat says we want to hear more about Maggie and Perloff's amazing nightlife. I mean, how much time you got?
Well,
watched a basketball game last night.
Probably saw it on TMZ. Were we on TMZ last night?
It went viral for several different reasons, over the course of these last few days.
I'll tell you, this is how our night went. There was a point where I said, excuse me, Maggie, for one moment, and can I change into sweatpants? Ran up to my room, put on sweatpants, came back. Maggie, Sully, and I were watching basketball. Yep. And then
I had to watch Kyrie's debut.
I will tell you, though, it was an interesting conversation. You told a story about Amsterdam.
I'm not going to tell that story on there. No, but I need to tell.
There we go. Bring it back to not having kids at the podium. Why do you do that, Maggie?
So here's a funny thing, though. So, Jeff is asking about our nightlife, and I think right now, just a couple good restaurants here and there, nothing crazy to speak of, but tonight is our night.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight is our night. So Perloff and I are actually hosting a happy hour.
Yeah.
This has been something that's been in the works. We haven't been able to tell the audience about it because it's been a little bit hush-hush. We've been trying to get some things together behind the scenes. But we can tell you all now, we are throwing like a blowout happy hour that's happening right after the show. Like, you and I we have to get ready to host.
I know. What
are you ready?
No.
Me neither.
No, not at all. I'm worried that it's going to be too many people. We've invited all our media friends, and I'm just panicked. I'm so panicked about this.
because I mean you're a good small talker though. That's all we have to do. We have to make people feel comfortable. Now our happy hour is really amazing. A friend of ours is hosting it for us, basically.
Well, here's the problem. How do you handle the situation?
Okay.
You invited a lot of people. I invited a lot of people. I don't know everyone on your list.
Yeah, right. This is like a wedding, and we've got different sides of the room.
How do you deal with if someone who you don't know their names and you're talking to somebody else? You have to do the introduction.
Yeah, it's like friend to Perloff.
Hey, Bill, this is Fred.
I know, and I hate. I know.
How are we going to do? I know I'm going to have a panic. I've already screwed up about 14 different shows. This has been a very Curb Your Enthusiasm week for me.
You are Larry David over here.
Yeah, I've had so many awkward social interactions. So I'm more nervous than I can't wait till it gets flowing. We get some food and drinks in us.
Yeah.
And then we can just have fun.
Relax a little bit. So not only that, so we are hosting a happy hour with like maybe 500 of our closest friends. We have no idea how many people are going to show up because we invited everybody. And then after that, you and I have VIP tickets to see Luke Combs in a private concert. Look at us. It's like we saved it all up for Thursday. You might have thought we were losers last night watching basketball at the hotel, but tonight is our night.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of become accustomed to VIP treatment, but...
Yes, I know.
No, you know what that means.
Pardon me.
That just means better hors d'oeuvres. It's going to be great. There's
celebrities.
Maybe it's going to be hot dogs wrapped in pigs in a blanket. If it's really high end, there's going to be scallops wrapped in bacon. I have the whole food menu.
Yep.
And by the way, we're talking to a chef later today.
Yeah, we got Andrew Zimmern who's going to come on later and give us a little Super Bowl rundown of his table.
And a side question, how has your dinners been? What have you been eating? High-end lunches, Phoenix steakhouses?
I can't wait to get vindicated by a chef because Perloff and Samter love to make fun of me for eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I love them. I'm never going to give them up. You guys can't shame me.
We are on the road, and there's all sorts of fancy restaurants around here. That's usually like, I brought a PB&J. What are you doing, Maggie? You're supposed to act like a big-time media member, not bring PB&J.
Well, old habits die hard. When you have a 3.5-year-old at home, half my life is making peanut butter and jelly. I finally made a few for myself. So that's what's going on. We don't have a lot of crazy stories to talk about so far. But that doesn't mean we're not going to be out there.
The week is young.
Yeah.
I mean, we could definitely get arrested. Something could happen.
God.
Maggie and Perloff get arrested. Maggie brings her kids in with her to the mugshot.
Wouldn't that be my just dessert?
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. I haven't even filled you in on how many people have asked me about that take, Maggie.
Well, Ian Rappaport, a rap sheet, the NFL insider, who's right next to us on the set. We know each other a little bit because all of us here kind of know each other a little bit. And so he came over the other day, and he's just holding his phone out with the headline.
Oh.
He's like, making some news lately? I'm like, yeah, apparently I am.
I have to tell
thank you. Jeff Anders in the chat. I love PB&J. Jared, PB&J are Weedo's favorites. Thank you, Weedos.
Well,
appreciate you, Weedos.
Okay, you love PB&J, but what about our producer liking peanut butter and raw onion
I don't want
sandwiches?
to get into that. How about this? This is what I learned about Samter today. He had to show me something in the middle of our T. Higgins interview. Like he had to tell me something off the air. So he showed me his phone, and the font on his phone is Comic Sans.
Whoa.
You're a madman. What's wrong with you? It's so weird. It looks like, are you showing me an advertisement or something? It was
can't
a
help.
text.
I made the switch accidentally years ago, and now I'm just so used to it. I tried to switch back, and it threw me off and blew my mind. I can't go back.
Are you Dan Gilbert? Throw back to the decision. It's bizarre. I'd change it back.
Wait. Well, hold on. What's more bizarre, my font or my peanut butter and onion? And first of all, I blame Fred Savage for that.
I know. You got a whole backstory on this thing.
Yeah.
No. The peanut butter and onion is, of the many weird things about you, Samter, it's #1, and there's nothing close.
Can you imagine? We're doing all these radio interviews here at our set on Radio Row. Imagine we're like this close. You're super close to everybody, to Shannon Sharpe, to Justin Jefferson, to T. Higgins, who joined us today, and you had just eaten a peanut butter and onion sandwich.
No.
We'd never see these people again. They would be out of here so fast. It's like, oh my gosh, who are those two people over there with the kicking breath?
No, I avoid garlic and onion during this week because I'm going to be at the VIP lounge tonight. I can't be talking to some A-list celebrity with onion on my breath.
I mean, come on, have a little dignity. All right, we are so happy now to be joined by yet another celebrity guest. He is a two-time Coach of the Year, a Super Bowl champion from your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now in the C-level suite. It is Bruce Arians. Well,
yeah, and it was hard on him, but it was such a tough year for him, and I'm so proud of him because and it was hard on him, but it was such a tough year for him, and I'm so proud of him because he battled through everything personally, and then never brought it to the office. He was fantastic all year, and he can still sling it now. And but I think he's done.
Yeah, what do you think was behind? Why was it such a hard year? Because of injuries on and O-line issues, or was it Tom personal stuff? If you had what happened?
I think it was a combination. Yeah. The injuries weren't sometimes your center got hurt or this guy got hurt. We lost leaders. When Ryan Jensen went down, that was big because he's like the heartbeat of the offensive line and the toughness. Robert Hainsey did a good job, but it's not the same when you start losing Shaq Barrett's and Ryan Jensen's and guys like that. It's tough, but for Tom, pushing through the personal stuff was really hard.
I mean, he's somebody who's so laser focused, right? So how were you even able to tell that it was weighing on him?
Well, it was easy early because he lost all that weight, and but then he got it back, and you could see him start smiling again and doing some things that are just normal, and it's so hard to go through what he went through.
Fans, we watch the game and we see what's happening on the field, and you've been on so many teams. Seems like there's a whole layer of information about what's really happening with a team. Personal lives bleed into what we see on the field, right? Has that been your experience throughout your career?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, sometimes, babies are getting born and things are happening. It's like, hey, you can't control any of this stuff, and you try to manage this as much as you can, and hopefully the leadership on your team helps you navigate through that.
And as a head coach, is that a big skill for a head coach to deal with people? I know Andy Reid has been credited for that a lot.
He's one of the
to bring
best,
people in his office and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you got to. There's so many good people. I think we've finally awakened to sports psychologists and psychologists being on the staff and helping these young guys adapt to having money and having the league and all the pressure that goes with it. They don't want to talk to a coach.
Oh, okay.
They want, but
you're the boss.
To have those people is amazing. It's one of the best things we've started doing.
It was funny. We were talking to Justin Jefferson, great wide receiver, obviously, for the Vikings, and there was a profile piece where Kevin O'Connell, the new coach, came in and said, meet me in my office. And he said, I don't know where the coach's office is. He had never been to Mike Zimmer's office, I guess. That was like very revealing. I thought, I always assumed that coaches were, super connected with their players. How is it different for you now in the front office? Because we saw you on the sidelines that Saints game, Coach. You couldn't help yourself but be back out there fighting for your team.
Got another rule made.
Are you proud of that?
Yeah, but no, it was a great transition for me. I was ready. I got to go to practice, got to help the coaches with whatever they needed. I wanted to stay out of the way because I didn't want to overshadow anybody. And I think Todd did a great job with the transition, all the injuries and everything that went on this year to still win the division. And hopefully we'll get better next year.
As you look at this hiring cycle, it's still, I think there's a diversity problem with coaching. Where do you think the NFL is with that now, and what can they do?
I think we've made progress. We're starting to get quarterback coaches and getting people in line to become coordinators on offense, because right now the hiring cycle is offense.
Yep.
For about 15 years it was defense. When Parcells and those guys were winning championships, everybody hired defensive coaches.
Right.
Now it's all offensive coaches and who can bring these young quarterbacks around fastest.
Bruce Arians is joining us on behalf of the Arians Family Foundation, of course, Super Bowl champion, two-time Coach of the Year. All right, so what are the Bucs going to do at quarterback now that Tom is no longer
it's like
in the NFL?
When we decided 3-4 years ago, let's look behind door number 2. You never knew who's behind door number 2. We never would have thought it was Tom Brady. I joked about it and I caught hell for it. But, it's like, you never know. But I love Kyle Trask. I think we drafted Kyle. He's sit around with Tom and Blaine Gabbert. He's learned how to be a pro and he's changed his body. He's getting better and better. So I think we're fine with him.
Okay, so Perloff is a massive Philadelphia Eagles fan. We know your connections to Philadelphia run very deep, Coach. We had a discussion the other day about who has the coaching advantage in the Super Bowl. And I was arguing on behalf of Andy Reid. And Perloff says he thinks it's Sirianni because the coordinators are real hot now. And where do you see the coaching advantage in this game?
Well, I'm going to go with experience every time.
Of course.
And Andy is one of my favorites. You know, he's one of the most innovative guys and stays way ahead of the game. You're never going to catch up to Andy Reid. I mean, it's just amazing. And but I really like what Nick did. I think Nick learned from last year, and how he put some pieces in there, and that defense is something special.
You know, one thing that Nick does well is fourth down, and these young coaches and some of the older coaches are
Doug
so
Peterson,
aggressive now. And Doug
Arians,
Peterson. But you know what Sirianni? Just my argument was is that Nick's been really hot on fourth down calls, and that seems to be a big part of the game right now.
Yeah, and they can blow up on you real fast.
But the Eagles have that rugby push that is not blowing up at all.
That hasn't been outlawed yet, but it's gonna.
Wow.
They're not going to name that one after you, though.
No, that's for sure. But yeah, that's it's a great play. Until they change the rule of pushing instead of pulling, you know.
Yeah. Did you look at it and say, why didn't I think of that? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, that happened a long time ago. We did. Our fullback came in, hit the quarterback, knocked him in. This was about 25 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, so you had. Okay.
Nothing is new.
Nothing's new.
It's
No,
all
I promise you.
cyclical.
I have to left at Jet Motion. People talk about, oh man, that's so inventive. They were doing that in Mississippi Junior College in '78.
Coach, last one for you, and again, joining us on behalf of the Arians Family Foundation. You know, I think that we look at these dynamic offenses and we think like, man, can't be stopped. And then we get to the playoffs, and what always happens? Running the ball, defense comes in big. It's like, where's the disconnect here between like the regular season of the NFL and then what we see in the postseason? How does that affect team building?
Yeah, I think, you know, weather has something to do with it a little bit in the Northeast, but I still think the guys that can throw it win. The guys that are scoring points win. That's not necessarily the running teams. If they get behind, like we got Philly behind last year, and they couldn't catch up because they didn't have the passing attack they have now. That's what I see the big difference in Philly. They have a passing attack now, so they can play from ahead or behind. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You got to score points.
Yeah.
Bruce, do you still have the cocktail party out of the back of the trunk? That was one of the great details from your
Maggie
book.
wanted invites.
Yeah. Am I being a little too thirsty for the invite?
We had come Saturday, 12 to 3 at STK in Scottsdale. We'll fill you up.
There you go.
All right. Well, I consider that an invite. You can consider this my RSVP.
You got it.
Coach Bruce Arians, two-time Coach of the Year, Super Bowl champion. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that.
You bet.
We're back with more Maggie and Perloff right after this.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
First time ever, stream the Super Bowl for free. Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One is Sunday, February 12th. Catch all the action on the Odyssey app on WestwoodOneSports.com. Via Westwood One station streams or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. All sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the cause of your check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Maggie, I hope you enjoyed your peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. I think it's time to step it up.
I know. I'm getting shamed because I like eating peanut butter and jelly, and it's a very simple food and a very ubiquitous thing. And it's great to be joined now by someone who's only been eating bizarre foods for most of his adult life. And
I just had a PB&J about 4 days ago.
Thank you. Andrew Zimmern
I have one a week.
Is a James Beard Award for Outstanding Personality. And again, Bizarre Foods is one of our favorite shows. You're a celebrity chef who's in town doing Taste of the NFL. Thank you for telling me that you still eat peanut butter and jelly.
Absolutely.
Like regular.
Do you make your own jelly?
Oh, of course not.
Ouch. Ouch.
I don't make my own anything, but you do. Okay, so it's now Thursday before the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Everyone's getting ready for their Super Bowl parties who's
Sure.
listening to us. What do you prepare for your Super Bowl party?
Great question. I try to practice the art of hospitality in my house. So there's always in the soup warmer or crock pot retrofitted to hold at a certain temperature. I'll usually do something like oyster chowder. I'm an East Coaster, so I have something like that. So something hot for people to walk in the door and take in their hands. They're getting their shoes and jackets off, right? I mean, it's really important. It's cold where I live, right?
Yeah, Minneapolis.
So that's first. All the different hot, bubbly, cheesy, dippy, mini enchilada, anything that's saucy and hot or dippy and hot is on the apron of the fireplace, right? Which keeps it nice and warm. We have hot dogs and other tubular meats.
Okay.
With skewers so people can roast their own. I like people to cook while they're in my house. So even, I know this sounds dumb, but yeah, not everyone has a fireplace. But I like the idea of people roasting their own hot. There's nothing better than during a TV commercial, taking a hot dog, putting it on a stick, and roasting it in a bun. It's the best tasting food on planet Earth. I like to take something and bake it all day or the night before, like a whole pork shoulder or a turkey or something like that, to put out with little buns for people to make sandwiches. Then I have what I call the exotica section, because people come to my house.
There's an expectation.
They want something plussed up. So, that's the stone crab, the Iberico ham and the ham cradle, other stuff like that. And then I like to make a couple of dishes that are just super fun that people don't expect. So, AFC NFC Championship game when I was home, because I'm not home now. I made japchae, which is a sweet potato starch glass noodle dish that's arguably the most popular noodle dish in Korea. It's fantastic, just lots of vegetables. It's delicious, and super good for you. And you can make a giant-sized batch for it. And I had like 10 people over to my house, and that was one of the things that we made, was a big pot of that. So I do that kind of thing. It's fun. Yeah.
Listen, your reputation in our chat now on YouTube, RPC saying Zimmer's PB&J is pig brains and jam. Your reputation out there for the bizarre stuff.
What's funny is that I've actually eaten that, because in the Carolinas and the Mid-Atlantic states, they make things like scrapple and pig nose jelly, stuff like that, all kinds of head cheese and things. And they serve it on white bread, one side with grape jelly, one side with mustard. And that's kind of the way it's eaten down there. And so when someone says pig brains and jelly, it's like, yeah, I've actually eaten that. It's a great combination.
Of course,
You've actually eaten everything, Andrew Zimmern.
Yeah. Do you want to know something that is kind of true?
Yeah.
It's kind of true.
By the way, if I was invited to your house, I would not have time to roast hot dogs, just to be clear, because I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm focused winning on the game. It's been a while for you.
What are you worried about?
It's been a while for you as a Giants fan. You don't remember that intensity.
No. You're worried about Pat Mahomes' ankle.
I'm obsessed with it.
If he's good to go, it's a game. If he is on an 80% wheel, then the Eagles can drop an extra defense. They don't have to worry about him running as much as they would. I still think he's going to gut it out. I think this guy, is an incredible competitor. But as a New Yorker, the idea that I'm about to say, dare I say it, that I kind of like the Eagles, if I was putting $1 down on the game right now, I'd have to pick Eagles, because I don't think Mahomes is 100%. But if he is, or approaching it, it's a real game tomorrow. I'm excited.
Of course, Kansas City,
or Sunday,
known for the parking lot smelling like barbecue.
Yes.
I don't know how much you've tailgated, but what's a
lot.
What's your number one place you want to tailgate? You have one last tailgate meal. Where is it?
I would probably go back to, and it's not because of the national championship stuff. I've shot a lot of tailgate shows. I actually did a tailgate show for Toyota. It was branded content before the word branded content was invented.
Yeah.
And University of Georgia, when it comes to the quality and diversity of food and the setups that people create in the parking lots at UGA, it is like nothing I've ever seen before. Ann Arbor, same thing, but the quality of food isn't the same. At UGA, I mean, the pots of fried chicken, the whole hogs, the Southern classics, to me, scream tailgate more than bad chili in the snow.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna say UGA.
Nothing in the Northeast, right? The Northeast doesn't know how to tailgate.
They do and they don't. They're affected by weather. Here's the deal. If you know that it's not going to get any colder than 50 degrees, you've opened up a world of food that people in the Northeast can't do. Yeah. That being said, look at Southern California, the worst tailgating of all time. Sorry.
They banned tailgating at the SoFi,
It's just awful, right? I will say, shameless, hometown plug, September, those beautiful football Sundays in Minnesota, and October before it gets cold in November, is epic. We know how to do it there.
Andrew Zimmern is our guest. He's part of Taste of the NFL, the NFL's largest charity event. Gets celebrity chefs. Everyone gets to try this really amazing
food. Hall of Famers,
food.
great players, movie stars. It's crazy how this event has grown over the last 31 years. It was created in Minnesota by Wayne Kostrowski 31 years ago. I think this is technically our 32nd event then. The first 10, I was a bystander. Then I went on his board, and I've been involved with Taste of the NFL ever since. A couple years ago, he passed the baton to Gen Youth, an incredible organization, genyouth.org. They specialize in taking care of feeding kids and developing nutritious and healthy food programs in schools, and also transforming school cafeterias back to places where real cooking is going on. So they're doing substantive leave-behinds and really transforming the very nature of how food is being cooked in schools, bringing it back to the way it was in the 70s when there were actually real lunch ladies doing more than just serving. That's a big change, and I think it's also a game changer for hunger relief efforts. And so it's wonderful to be a part still of Taste of the NFL with a great new organization, great leadership from the people that run Gen Youth. And, after, look, last year in L.A., we kind of did a half a taste.
Yeah.
It was wonderful at the Peterson Automotive Museum. I mean, it was just a great event. But now we're back to 3,000 people gathering in a room and really having at it. And the food is going to be better than ever. We've changed it up a little bit. We're focusing this year more on local chefs. Look, most people that are coming to the taste are guests. They're from out of town.
Sure.
This is part of a ticket package. It's an experience for them to come in. Yes. Do we have local ticket buyers? Absolutely. But we're celebrating and elevating local chefs in the same way that Gen Youth is focusing on schools. I think to date, and I'm talking about just this week, we're up to almost 600,000 meals to schools here in the greater Valley of the Sun area.
Yeah.
What do you call the Phoenix Metro?
Samter?
Well, everybody...
You lived here for a while.
Everybody better get to know it because they're winning the NBA championship.
Now with Kevin Durant. I mean, Andrew Zimmern is our guest. That's fantastic what you guys are doing, especially about getting nutritious food in schools where if kids, can't afford it or get it on their own, they're getting something nutritious. It helps with focus and
everything.
Everything.
I mean, look, anywhere the public dollar... I mean, I've spent my life doing this. I mean, I've got 8 million ambassadorships, and I'm involved on so many boards, and I've devoted my life to try to helping other people now that I have a platform that allows me to do it. The most important thing that we can absolutely do in the world is spread awareness about this problem. People say hunger is still a hidden disease. No one jumps up and down and says, hey, I'm hungry. And people think that the face of hunger is the homeless person that's sitting on the street. No, that's the face of mental health issues. By the way, just as important, I devote a lot of time to that because I'm a sick person. Truly. But if we want to transform the hunger issue in America, we have to consider it unacceptable. We have to step in where governments won't, municipal, state, and federal, like immigration reform. It's been kicked down the road 100,000 times. It is not okay that there is a hungry child in America. This is the greatest country in the history of planet Earth. Yeah. We can feed. It costs $2 billion. It would take us about 2 weeks, and we could feed every human being in America in perpetuity. That's it. But we don't have the political will to do so. And so it relies on nonprofits and public-private partnerships to change the nature of how we address social justice and equity issues in America, right? Flat out. If no one else is going to fix it, then we have to take on that responsibility ourselves. And hungry children, sorry, not tolerable.
I know, and kids don't have advocates for themselves,
of course they don't.
and can't.
Of course they don't.
And so it's fantastic what you're doing, and with the combination of Taste of the NFL. We noticed that, thankfully we're getting past this pandemic, and it was unfortunate, very unfortunate what happened to the restaurant industry. And my parents owned a restaurant when I was growing up, so I really felt for everyone who was going through that. Yet it created a boon for, the home amateur cook.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to continue now that we're getting back to our real lives? Are all these amateur cooks, do you think they're going to stay in the kitchen and stay
100%,
interested?
100%. They enjoyed it. It's like going out and playing pickleball. I mean, once you do it, laugh about it all you want.
He loves it.
But once you start it, it's like, oh, that's a fun game. Yeah. Now, are you going to do it every day? Maybe not. Maybe. But you're gonna keep doing it. Here's the deal. I think that when we pushed everyone inside and said, hang out with your family, pick up some new hobbies, buy your COVID dog, right, for those that were, able to do so. But cooking for each other, I think one of the things that's been missing in America for the last generation is something that we had been doing for hundreds of years. thousands, when you look at the nature of humankind from the time we first started gathering around a fire in caves, is communal dining. The communal table is the place that we exchange ideas, that we catch up on our day. It's why I created the show Family Dinner for Magnolia Network, which is one of my new, well, it's not new, it's been on for 3 seasons, but it's why I created Family Dinner, because I wanted people to see what happened when people broke bread together, right? We've missed that. COVID kind of forced that hand, and I think once people have seen what it did for them, I know obviously some people are going to give it up, but I think the vast majority are going to stick with it. Is that good for the restaurant industry? I think it's good for the restaurant industry. Some people say, well, then people aren't going to dine out as much. I call BS. I think actually what it's going to do is they're going to take better advantage of going out, and they're going to be more selective, and they're going to populate independent restaurants with their customership. And that's really where, I was one of the co-founders of the Independent Restaurant Coalition. We started in March of 2020 to try to address in Washington, D.C. laws like, we fixed PPP. We tried to get the, Restore America Act passed. We've worked closely hand in hand with the current administration. Try to get more money for restaurants that are run by people of color and women, those who did not find resources to go to a bank and, they're going to sit there and give them $1 million. Sure. We have to restore the restaurant economy. Independent restaurants represent 5% of GDP. That's just the restaurants. Wow. That's not the food that comes in. That's not any other piece of it, right? And so the people who work in restaurants as a whole, not just independent ones, are a very special community. Largest employer of single moms, single dads, first-time job seekers, last-time job seekers, returning citizens, people coming out of jails and institutions. So when you support restaurants, you're really supporting a sector of society that also is trying to find a way up and out of a current situation or trying to exist. I don't think there's a more important group of people to support in the world than food people, right? Yep. Food connects us all, whether we eat it at home, COVID question, right? Or whether we go out to eat it. Flip side of the COVID issue. So I would encourage people to just embrace a food life. Where I'm disappointed in people and try to encourage them to get up and out of their malaise is people who have no food life. And I'm not talking about people who can't afford food. I'm fighting for them. I'm talking about people who just choose not to have a food life. I think they're missing out on one of the most important aspects of our existence here on planet Earth. And I don't think I'm drawing too fine a point on it. I've used food as a crystal ball and a magnifying glass to take a look at other cultures and global problems that we share, a place to help us restore equity in America. And I think it's through food that we can do a lot of healing.
Andrew, last question for me. Taste of NFL. Can I get a quality cheesesteak there? Because that's how I want to celebrate the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Are you sure? Because I don't know that they exist outside of Philadelphia.
Wow, that's really harsh.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. I'm a big John's roast pork guy.
Oh, roast pork.
We had that when we were at the
also
Army
make a
Navy
cheesesteak. I mean, John's. Yeah. I happen to like John's. There's a lot of great cheesesteak places in Philly, and I go there a lot just to eat a good cheesesteak. Yeah. But yes, you can get a good one. You just have to have the right bread. That's the biggest problem.
It's the bread.
It's not cheese. Look, I happen to like a good aged Prove on mine, but if you don't like that and you want whiz or you want something a little more softer, that's fine. The difference maker is the roll. The bread helps make this. People overlook the bread on the sandwich all the time. How many times have you had a really good sandwich with really great expensive ingredients and the bread is like a French baguette that tears the roof of your mouth? That's a bad sandwich.
I know. And
that's a bad sandwich.
It just sits there.
I believe we have someone at Taste of the NFL who's doing a Philly cheesesteak.
There you go.
Okay, now you guys just got to get in.
I hope. No. You guys, please. You're on my list. Please come if you're here Saturday. Please come and join us. It's the party with a purpose, and it really is a wonderful event.
Last one from me, because you did Bizarre Foods for so long, and a lot of people who are listening to us probably know you from that, right?
Of course they do.
Is there something that like wakes you up in the night in a cold sweat? Just like, oh, like it still stayed with you. How gross, or maybe gross is the wrong word, but just how like you still can't believe you ate that thing. There's got to be one that sticks with you.
No, there's a group of foods that I can't believe.
Yeah.
I ate, and that's all the rotten and fermented foods, things that are just left out for 2-3 years, whether it's, fish heads, damamane in Taiwan, hakarl in Iceland, fermented skate wings in Korea. I mean, things that all the poisons have been killed off by the good bacteria, but all the stink and ammonia has been left behind. It's horrific. But I developed a really I developed a taste for it. And none of that wakes me up at night. I don't have nightmares.
Okay.
What I have are feelings of regret that I will never, ever again in my lifetime eat a giant scallop off the coast of Samoa, because that whole island was devastated by the tsunami 6 years ago, right? I may have been the last, person in the world to ever eat one. I mean, a couple weeks later, it was gone. They can only harvest 1 or 2 a year. This one tribal group in Samoa. Am I ever going to eat another kudu again, which is a small hoofed antelope in southern Africa that I think is the best tasting meat on planet Earth? Whoa. It's like veal. I mean, it just is. It's glorious. So there's things like that keep me up at night. Will I ever be in that village again in Vietnam and eat those tiny little deep-fried ducks and chickens that you hold by the beak and eat the whole thing? Delicious. If you ate one, you'd say this is the best expression of poultry I've ever had.
Okay.
So it's more about those things that I don't think I'll ever taste again. I'm the only human being that ate 3,000-year-old bog butter. That was discovered. I mean, the block is in a museum now in Dublin, but I got to eat some before it was whisked off, and we put it in the show. So there's things like that I think are...
You put that on a French baguette?
Funny, I just ate it plain, and then I went back to a restaurant, and we had a 3,000-year-old butter-basted little marsh birds, because the chef wanted to pair what grows together goes together, and since they discovered the bog butter in the bogs there, he wanted birds and herbs from the bog, and it was one of the most beautiful dishes of food I've ever eaten.
I mean, Perloff almost drank like a month-old Diet Dr. Pepper, and I was like, don't do it, man.
Yeah,
that is
by the way, that is not going to be at my Super Bowl party.
Really?
No,
The bog butter
3,000-year-old
guy,
butter.
yeah.
No, I'm sticking with the hot dog.
Bravo, I'm a big hot
Listen,
dog guy.
to each their own. I mean, come on, Perloff, get a little adventurous. Andrew Zimmern, Taste of the NFL. As I mentioned, James Beard Award, a great person for personality.
Don't short me. I've won 4.
4 James Beard Awards. All of the advocacy work that you're doing, it's amazing. Thank you so much for this.
No, thank you very
and hope
much.
to see you again soon.
You guys are awesome. I'm really privileged. Thank you.
Thank you. The pleasure is ours. All right, we've got a lot more to do here from Radio Row in Phoenix, including our shot of the day coming up next. Don't miss it. Maggie and Perloff, more after this CBS Sports Update with Dexter Henry.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
All right, guys, since the start of the NBA season, there have been 21 trades. 16 of them occurred between yesterday and today's 3 p.m. trade deadline. None bigger than the Suns acquiring Kevin Durant from the Nets. Phoenix surrendered Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks for the former league MVP. Then the Nets sent Crowder to the Bucks for 5 second-round picks. Now, before the deadline, the Lakers, they also made some more moves. L.A. sent guard Patrick Beverley to the Magic for Mo Bamba. And in another deal, the Lake Show sent Thomas Bryant to the Nuggets for Devon Reed and 3 second-rounders. Super Bowl 57 goes down on Sunday, and Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes isn't taking playing in the big game for granted.
You play and you work your tail off to be in this game and to play on the world stage, and you dream about it as a little kid when you're watching at Super Bowl parties and with your dad and your mom and everybody like that. And so to be able to play in this game is truly special, and you appreciate it every single time.
Mahomes, who threw for 5,000 yards and led the NFL with 41 touchdowns this season, is the favorite to win MVP for the second time in his career. That award will be announced tonight. I'm Dexter Henry.
Hey, it's Amy Lawrence. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Just ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff of Radio Row. Okay, we've had a lot of fun so far today, but it's time for the most fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for the Casamigos Shot of the Day.
He shoots!
And the Shot of the Day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Okay, earlier in the show, we talked to the all-pro wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson. And because he plays for Minnesota and Aaron Rodgers plays in Green Bay, they're in the same division. So we asked him about all those Aaron Rodgers trade rumors.
I'll be more happy without without him on the Green Bay side.
You realize he's going on a darkness retreat.
A what?
A darkness retreat.
I heard about that.
Is
4
that-
days.
I heard about that.
You're such a social guy. Could you do that?
No, I mean, I went on. I deactivated my social media. If that counts as a darkness retreat.
That is
or
the
whatever.
young person's version of a darkness retreat.
Right.
Wow. So Aaron Rodgers is basically going into a cave, I think, where someone like rolls a rock in front of it or something, and he can't get out, and they slip him food through the door. But
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson deactivated Twitter and Instagram. Same.
I'm more scared of what Justin Jefferson did. I'm a huge. Oh my gosh. I check my phone once every 10 minutes, and I'm not young either. Do you? Are you addicted?
I'm definitely addicted, and I understand that. It might be a function of the job, but that's, again, me now not taking ownership for what I'm doing. I think it would be much easier for me to deactivate the Twitter. I can't go into the dark. I was thinking about this last night as I was laying in bed. I think I'm scared of the dark.
What?
So if I was in an all-dark, like, cabin or something, like Aaron Rodgers might be doing, I'd be afraid.
Yeah.
I'd in my mind, all of a sudden, like, Gollum would be next to me.
No,
or, like,
that
the
is-
Blair Witch Project. Something would happen, and my mind would take over.
Oh yeah. No, I guess I'm scared of the dark too. 'Cause
Yeah, I'm
that
scared of the
terrifies
dark.
me. That sounds like what's the show Stranger Things when she
Yes.
goes into that black space. There could be anything next to you. There's probably a bat in the room or something terrifying.
The bat at least is a real thing. I'd conjure up.
Oh, you're scared where your mind would
Yes, yeah, like
yeah,
the boogeyman.
4 days. Honestly, I'd like to see you 4 days of just meditating, not speaking.
If we came back, I might be such a different person you might not recognize me.
You'd be relaxed and aware.
It'd be weird, yeah.
Yeah. So is that going to happen?
Present. No. So, Casamigos, if you are throwing a Super Bowl party, which we were just talking to celebrity chef Andrew Zimmern, who talked about the small things he would put out, which is like 25 dishes. But the one thing you have to make sure, and one thing that goes with everything, is tequila. Whether it's on the rocks, whether it's neat, whether it's in a cocktail, you can really impress your guests. Go to Casamigos.com. The website has all this cool cocktail information. That's step one. Step two, figure out the food menu.
100%. And something that obviously we had. You weren't with me. I had amazing Mexican food last night. That
Oh,
would've
I
been
know.
Great.
You and Sully went out.
Oh wait, it's a place you went to too.
I have been.
I
yeah.
loved it. I didn't tell you how much I enjoyed it. It was great.
Did you have the shrimp?
I did not. I had birria.
Oh,
With
nice.
shredded
yeah,
beef. Yeah, I wanted 9 things on the menu. It was great.
Now you're making me hungry. Okay, something to update today. Derek Carr went to go visit the Saints in the Saints facility. Now, I was kind of under the impression that Derek Carr was actually not going to get traded. I thought that he was going to wait. This deadline they have was going to expire, and he basically was going to become like a free agent. Now, though, he's taken a trip to see the Saints. Like, maybe a trade is in the works.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I know my guy Andy Dalton was there, but that's not a long-term thing.
Right.
I worry about the Saints. The Saints have no salary cap space. They feel like a franchise that does not have a lot of room to grow. So I think that's why they want a veteran like Derek Carr in there, because I know Chris Olave is young, but everybody has. Cam Jordan does not have that many more years left. They're a great defensive player. Derek Carr makes so much sense there.
Okay, we have another update on the big NBA trade from today. Obviously, Kevin Durant, the blockbuster trade, could tilt the balance of power in the Western Conference, might even decide the title this year. Apparently, Brian Windhorst was on ESPN today, and he said, don't discount a possible reunion for the all-sizzle, no-stake big three of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, because while KD still has 3 years left on his deal, Kyrie and Harden are both free agents next year, and Harden went to Arizona State University, which is located right here in Phoenix, and Kyrie has always loved Phoenix. Oh, good grief.
Kyrie, well, first of all, just because James Harden went to Arizona State, Kyrie Irving went to Duke. He's not signing with the Charlotte team, so what's the difference?
I don't know. Maybe he likes the area.
I don't know. That feels like, I mean, that's such a huge mistake if they do that again. Honestly, they can't do that, but that's
You just
how they
don't want
expect
someone
us
to pry Harden away from your beloved 76ers.
No, I think Harden and Daryl Morey are really tied at the hip. I don't see this happening at all. And I'd stick with Devin Booker. Don't bring in James Harden. Stop it, KD. Just settle in somewhere.
I know. Can we just, like, try to win a title with who you got. It's sacrilegious.
It's the NBA,
days.
Maggie. What are you talking about?
I know.
It's always who you can get next.
This has been a phenomenal show. Now, Perloff and I have to go to our happy hour that we're hosting. Are you ready to do this?
Not at all. Are you?
We got to smile. We've got to take pictures with people. We're like greeting people at the door.
I'm getting into a small state of panic right now. Let's go to a dark room for 4 days.
Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thanks to Mike Samter, to all of our guests, to everyone helping us on the technical side here today. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you tomorrow to close out an amazing week on Radio Row. And thank you to the Weedos in the chat.
You're in a 5-minute break.